Right, kia ora koutou, welcome along everybody to our Waipapa Papanui-Innes-Central today. As you have now heard, we are live streaming this meeting, so just be aware that everything you say is captured on the live stream. We'll start off with our karakia, so I'll ask everybody to stand. Look on the screen. Whakataka te hau ki te uru, whakataka te hau ki te tonga, kia ngā kina ki uta, kia ngā taratara te tau, e hi ake ana te atakura, e tio, e huka, e hauru, si hei maari ora. Right, first item on the agenda today is apologies, and we do have one from Jake. That was, yep. So apologies from Jake. I'll move that. We have a seconder. Ms. Anita. That motion, all those in favour? Carried. Declarations of interest. I'm declaring an interest in item 14. We had a response from that citizens. Anything else comes up, do let us know. Item 3, confirmation of previous minutes. We'll move it in a seconder for those. Ali and Simon, put that motion, all those in favour? Aye. That is carried. And that takes us to our public forum, and we have Georgia and Taylor out there, travels. Welcome along. I'll just get you to turn the microphone on there, the light stream on there, but
hello, so I'm Taylor and this is my sister Georgia. We just want to say a big thank you to the Papanui board for helping us get to Scotland for a start, which was nice. And yeah, so on the 2nd of August this year, we travelled over to Glasgow to compete at the World Pipe Band Championships. So we were over in Glasgow for 2 weeks. During those 2 weeks, we competed at 2 competitions, one being the World Pipe Band Championships on the last weekend. So this is us at our where we were staying, so our accommodation at Queen Margaret, where we did most of our practicing. So this is us leading up to the European Championships, which was our first competition, and we did basically 94 practices every day, which was quite intense, but was really good. So it got us to that standard which we needed to be at. Yeah, so this was us competing at the European Championships, which was located in Perth. So it's about an hour and a half just outside of Glasgow. So on Saturday morning, we all jumped on a bus and travelled out to Perth. We competed twice that day. It was our first grade 1 experience over in Scotland, and for Taylor, it was her first grade 1 experience ever. So it was quite cool to play together for that. And in pipe bands, it's all graded within 4 categories. So it goes from grade 4 being the lowest all the way up to grade 1 being the highest. So to compete at the Europeans at the highest level in pipe band was pretty cool. We ended up getting a 7th placing overall with 2 5s in piping, beating some of the top 6 pipe bands in the world. I think it was the highest any pipe band in New Zealand has received in a grade 1 competition overseas. Yeah. Yeah, so after we competed at Europeans, we had 1 day off. So that was our only day off for the 2 weeks. So that was a time to do a little bit of exploring around Glasgow, a little bit of shopping for the girls. And also for some of like the uni students, I'm also studying at the University of Canterbury. We caught up on all of our studies because we were all doing that while competing. So practicing 9 to 4 and then doing studies after that was a bit intense. So it was nice to have a wee day off. And then after that, we got into our Worlds Prep. So this was us practicing at the Botanic Gardens down in Glasgow. So we ended up getting a wee noise complaint on the first week, which is surprising for Glasgow, you know, being a pipe band, being the home for the pipe band. So we ended up moving down to the Botanic Gardens where we did most of our practice in about 30-degree heat over there, which was intense. So yes, just before Worlds, I was invited to play at Pipe Idol, which is a very high solo competition, which is
it's for players under 21. So there was 16 across the world that qualified to go into this competition. So it was very cool being the only New Zealander this year to be playing there, which was awesome. And there was 4 heats, so I was in the last one, and it was very exciting, and it was just a nice experience to do, and it really put built my confidence, I guess, kind of out there, and it just helped me as a player as well. So it was really nice to do that, and definitely loved it a lot. This is so one of the main focuses as well while we were over there is they did a big focus on female pipers and the grade 1, as there isn't many grade 1 female pipers, they're mostly male dominated. So they worked out the percentage was 7% of female pipers play in grade 1 this year. So we all kind of got together and we got to meet a lot of new pipers, which was really nice for me. And it was just kind of nice to meet people. We all got together, and it was cool to see how many New Zealand pipers, not how many female pipers were actually in grade 1, and it's surprisingly not many, and hopefully that builds throughout the years.
So this was us on the Friday at the World Pipe Band Championship. So we were the first ones on in grade 1. So we played at 9:30 in the morning. So we had to be dressed up and ready to go by 7:30 in the morning. So we all got Ubered down to the Glasgow Green. So the World Pipe Band Championships consist of 2 days, Friday and Saturday. For the grade 1, you play 4 performances, 2 on the Friday and 2 on the Saturday. For other grades, you play once or twice, depending which level you're in. So on the Friday, we were the first on. We played our first 2 sets, and they are all live streamed through the BBC. I know that everyone was extremely happy with the Friday performances, so it just built our happiness and excitement for the Saturday. When we got to the Saturday, we were 11th on out of 14 pipe bands in grade 1. So we did it's basically just a repeat of the first day, except you're playing a whole new set of tunes. So for us, I think we had to learn and memorize about 25 tunes in the space of 3 months, 2 months.
Wow.
So it was quite intense, and especially we've never played in this pipe band before. So to come into a new stylistic pipe band, because every pipe band's got a different style, and to adapt very quickly it's quite cool to do that. So our end result for the World Pipe Band Championships was 9th in the grade, which is also the highest a New Zealand band has ever got in grade 1. The drumming places received 2 8th placings, which we also beat some of the top 6 pipe bands in drumming, and that's also the highest drumming grade a New Zealand band has ever received in grade 1. So to be a part of that was quite cool, and to come into it very quickly it was really cool to see how much your effort has paid off.
So this is us on the board. So when we were on the board, there was this big screen, which was everyone talks about being can't look at because it's a little bit delayed. But it was cool that we got on the big screen as well. So there's a few photos of me and my sister on the big screen.
But if you look at it, you lose your beat, yeah?
It's basically the thing is don't look at the big screen, otherwise you'll be put off. And Taylor came off her first run and was like, "Oh, Georgia, I saw you on the big screen while we were playing."
But so that was kind of cool to just be, because sometimes you don't really get on the big screen because they missed you a bit, but it was nice that we got on the big screen, which was really cool. Exciting. This was us just as we came off the board. So on the left there is me with the pipe major, Stuart McKenzie, who gave me the opportunity to play with the band, which was really nice, and also my sister. But and then there's me and Georgia on the other side, just as we came off, which was nice to get wee photos. This is the crew.
Yeah, so this was the Manawatu pipe band that we played with, who were so that's all of us there. And if you click, so these are all the girls in this band, which I believe in New Zealand, out of the sort of the grade one, it has the most girls in pipe band, which is really nice to see, especially like being in a male dominant field. I mean, growing up myself, I've never sort of played in a drum corps that has another female, except from like last year. So out of my 12 years of playing, I've only really played once in a corps with another drummer that's a female, which, yeah, shows a lot.
So this was me getting interviewed by a big podcast. So it's called the Big Rab podcast. Yeah. And he came over just as I finished on the Friday saying, I just want to interview you because we want to hear about your experience over at the Worlds. So that was really cool that he came up to me and he said this, like, that we want to interview you. So that was kind of exciting on that day to be interviewed. And it's on YouTube under the Big Rab, yeah, which was really cool.
Yeah, so I think one of the big focuses this year at the Worlds was the females in pipe band. So alongside the 7% item with all the female pipers, they got together all the female drummers in grade one, and we all performed a fanfare outside of a tent at the very end of the day. So it was all, you know, big hurrahs and everything. But yeah, to play alongside female drummers, especially since I've never really done that, was quite cool. And yeah, there's actually quite a lot of us, you know, normally especially since New Zealand is so isolated, we don't get to meet all these people overseas and experience that. So yeah, I think that was all for our presentation. Yeah, I think to round up the trip, it was a great experience for both of us. You know, we've always sat at home doing all-nighters watching the World Pipe Band Championships live streamed. So to be in that circle and be, you know, put on the big screen it's an experience, and only a very limited people in New Zealand get to experience doing that over there. So yeah, just want to say a big thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Unfortunately, we've run out of time for questions. We're not a tight schedule today, but congratulations on your achievement. Representing New Zealand with pride over there. And,
You do, yeah.
I hope you carry on with your endeavours. It's great to see.
Get on the big screen again.
Right now we'll move on to deputations. First up, we have Papanui School. Papanui softball.
This is regarding the trees?
Yes, about Papanui Domain. Yep.
That's me.
Right, this is in the urban forest tree planting plan for Papanui Domain. Welcome along.
Thank you. Hello, good afternoon. Thank you. My name is Jeremy Usman. I am a coach of quite a few years of Papanui softball, and I'm the new groundskeeper. Our legend there, Buzz. I'm gonna make up an age. I think he's 80 something, or he's retired, and I'm learning a lot from him. But look, I won't take up too much time because there's a few other people speaking on this, but I've read through the proposals. There's going to be, I believe, 29 trees removed of different types and 62 new trees planted. The main issue here is the grounds. Each sport's going to have their own issues, but we have a lot of drainage issues with the grounds at the moment, particularly on the edges of the grounds. There's a lot of dry field dirt, acorns, causing injuries. My sport, the kids dive both head first and feet first. Having consistent ground while they're doing that is actually very important. The drier that dirt is and it gets tore up, the kids get injured. We actually avoid practicing slides unless it has been quite wet. But then during the games, there is no avoiding that. They do it whether it's dry or not. So from a softball point of view, there's a lot of benefits to having a better grounds, a consistent grounds. That's all I'm in favor of. The canopy, the covering, the improvements to the area, and allowing us to upgrade the fields further in the future is a big benefit of that. But I'm just looking at the kids and the sport I play. So that's probably it for me.
Right, no, very succinct. Any questions?
You don't want more acorns.
Preferably not more acorns. No, yeah.
Right, no, I've made that very clear. Thank you very much. And we have Papanui Rugby League. Oh, you guys are going to go together? So we've got Canterbury Rugby League and Papanui Rugby League speaking on the same item.
Kia ora. Bill? Yes, ma'am.
Whatever one turns it red.
Kia ora. Kia ora, everybody. My name's Kane. I am the chairman of the Papanui Tigers Rugby League division. I've got a few bits of papers here. I didn't know how many people were going to be here, so if you want to hand those around, I've only got about 5 or 6 copies. But I'll firstly, thank you for having us and thank you for hearing our voice and our concerns around this issue here, because it's big for us. Obviously, rugby league, in our view, is a space for a lot of people to come and vent and get out and play sport instead of getting up to mischief. So we're really big on driving that. So I'll just read from some of the stuff that I've got down here. I just want to touch on our club growth and vision. Over the past 3 years, the Papanui Tigers Rugby League Club has experienced significant growth with a 44% increase in player registrations and memberships. We're now proudly fielding 9 junior teams, 2.5 youth teams and 2 senior teams. Looking ahead to 2026, our aspiration is to return back to the premier grade of Canterbury Rugby League comp. We've already secured our coaching staff in preparation for this next step. This advancement is expected to further boost registrations across all age groups, reinforcing the need for facilities that can accommodate our growing numbers. Currently, with approximately 200 registered players, we're already facing challenges in scheduling training sessions due to limited space. The potential reduction to a single playing field would severely impact our club's ability to operate effectively and would be detrimental to the continued growth of rugby league in our community. Field and facility concerns would like to raise the following ongoing issues that affect players' safety and the usability of our grounds. The roots surrounding the tree, the roots from surrounding trees are creating excessively dry areas, particularly in our try zones. And as you know, tries mean diving players and sliding knees and all that sort of stuff. So me being a coach at Papanui for the past 13, 14 years, I've seen multiple injuries of children, adult players and all that through the years. And I always have to make sure my band-aids are stocked up in the training bag. So they are causing big issues for our kids and our seniors as well. And to be quite frank, it's a little bit embarrassing for us to host games sometimes, because we know the talk amongst the senior groups, that field again, you know. So it is a bit embarrassing, and we want to represent ourselves in a very high status, but that part of the game for us doesn't quite fit. So yeah, we've got obviously those roots, the drainage damage. So what I've handed out, there's an email attached to that. But according to our plumber, the tree roots are causing significant damage to the drainage system beneath the driveway, which is between the club rooms and the playing fields. So my understanding is that as part of that proposal, those trees aren't spoken of. That's more highlighted between the Papanui High School and the Papanui playing field. But there are actually about 4 or 5 trees along that return side that do have a large effect on our club rooms. In terms of the root damage, and so there's a document attached to that which is backed up by the plumbers and stuff like that. And then of course the acorns, large volumes of acorns fall from the trees, creating hazards on the playing surfaces, often striking players and spectators as they fall. These not only present safety risks but also interfere with the quality and safety of our playing fields. So that's from a Papanui Tigers perspective, that's a big issue and one that we've had to put up for a long time. And I know in the past, it's been a very hard no to get that resolved, but if there is any way we could get that, some sort of resolution for that, for our community and our players and to be a bit more prouder of our fields, that would be much appreciated from us. And I'll just hand over to Mal from Canterbury Rugby League.
Give me time too, thank you. My name's Malcolm Hunt from Canterbury Rugby League, CEO. Thank you for your time today on this matter. Firstly, I'd just like to say that Papanui Tigers are a key club, a historical club of Canterbury Rugby League, and we're working with them closely across a number of matters, including their facilities and their membership. As Kane has said, 44% growth in the sport. I'm not sure if you're aware, but in the 2024 Sport Canterbury Impact Report, rugby league was the largest growth of sport in Canterbury, and Papanui have contributed significantly to that. We know the ground well. Canterbury Rugby League was actually based at Papanui. Rugby League is I guess a result of the earthquakes. And when I came on board 4 years ago, that's where we were based. So I'd heard about this Papanui domain. So in the winter, I used to go for a few walks and then just find out what it was really about. And yes, the roots are terrible, and we believe they're a real safety risk. However, there's also the ground itself, and I'm no groundsman, but there's certainly something not right. It's sludge in the winter, and it smells, and it's not good for our game, and I don't think it's good for our people as well. What we do understand is that remediation work won't go ahead if the trees aren't removed. So we've probably got a double whammy here in terms of there's a safety issue with the trees and acorns, and there's also the ground itself, which is in poor order. A key part of our strategic plan, and I've got a couple here for you. Two key goals of ours is that facilities support quality competitions. It is kind of said, we believe that we're not being able to deliver quality competition on that field the way it is. Another key goal of our strategic plan is that we provide safe and healthy experiences for our membership, and we don't believe we are doing that at Papanui. And it'd be fair to say, and support Kane's comments, we do look at how we can have games away from that ground, which isn't a good thing, but in terms of health and safety of our people, which is a key part of our strategic plan, we need to look after our people. So we're hugely, I guess, supportive of this. I guess the other part of this is this came to us as part of the field network plan under Canberra Rugby League, which we were part of with other sports, probably 2 years ago now, 18 months or 2 years ago. And we were asked what grounds were our priorities in terms of whether it be remediation work or so forth. Papanui Domain was number one. I think we gave them 4 grounds, and Papanui Domain was number one. There was talk that maybe they should turn the field around, and then we'd have one good field. That doesn't support 44% growth. And we're not just talking about games, we're talking about the number of trainings these guys need to do each week as well, right through their grades, and we're talking, male and female. So the one ground thing just doesn't work for us. So I'd just like to finish off by saying we're hugely supportive of this move, of the removal of trees, both from a health and safety piece, but also quality competitions. And we're supportive of Papanui Rugby League. Thank you very much.
Great, thank you. Any questions? You've made your position very clear. We appreciate you coming along and having your say. We'll be getting that later.
We've got to go and make sure, don't you? So we'll have to do something.
Appreciate it. Cheers.
Thank you. Bye. Right, well, now we have a number of deputations of item 8, which is the Shirley Community Facility Report. We will start with Jennifer Dalzell. So just a reminder, you have 10 minutes and that includes time for questions.
Well, I guess you all got my email yesterday. So I'm just going to run through basically what it said. Like 3.7 million has been allocated to build a new community centre at 10 Shirley Road, and that's what should be spent. And it should be spent in one go on one building, not on a building which is way too small and inadequate, with the hope that it can be added on to later. It just seems like even if the funds are allocated for that later, it's going to be another fight to get another design done for each add-on. I think it should be done once and done properly. The design that you've got before you is inadequate for the needs of the community. The previous community centre had many rooms and they were often all full. And their genealogical society wished to return to 10 Shirley Road, but they need a permanent space. And I don't see how you can fit one in that room that's there. Then there needs to be large spaces and small spaces. There needs to be somewhere for young people to access free Wi-Fi, because a lot of families in our area can't afford Wi-Fi at home. And if you actually look at the design of the building, there's a little bit cut out of a corner and they put some bike stands in there. Like, to me, like, why waste that space? You know, the building is so small already that it should be included in the building, not out of the building. The new building should be adjacent to 10 Shirley Road, not at the back of the property. This is for visibility from the main road and to access to the bus stops, which was one of the main features of the old Shirley Community Centre. People could just catch the bus, get off at the bus stop outside it, and go in. And it was used by people all over Christchurch. Lots of people came from all over Christchurch to attend courses there. And ease of accessibility was one of its features. And also, since the government, the last national government, stopped all the night classes at high schools, there's a real need for places for night classes in the area. And like with the design at the moment, it's like one room, you know, like how can you have more than one or two, lots of people there? The pump track, which is now on the site of the old community centre, needs to go because it was only ever to be a temporary fixture until the new community centre was built. It's hardly ever used now, as it's been superseded by newer and better ones in other parts of the community, like at Shirley Primary, Parewa, Adventure Avenue and St Albans Park. So the only people that use it are little children that come to play in the playground. They bring their wee scooters and hop on it, but it's completely unsuitable for them. They fall off very, very swiftly. And so it needs to be moved somewhere else. And I think that was what the original idea was, that eventually it was going to be moved to somewhere else. The other thing is that the reason we've got to this situation now is that the makeup of the original committee who put this design together is flawed. Like, it consisted of 4 people who had opposed the community centre in all the consultation. So it's really hard to understand why they were then given the job of building a new one when they weren't engaged in the whole process. And the 2 entities which are most affected, the school and the play centre, which is on the site, haven't been consulted at all. So their needs aren't met. So what I think needs to happen is we need to go back to the drawing board, engage people who are fully engaged, and design something that's actually suitable. Because I mean, even if you add on to this later, what about the access to the toilets and the kitchen? You know, like, how people are they going to be in this one building? You're going to add on somewhere, and what, people have to walk all the way around here? Like, I honestly don't even see with that plan how you can add on to it. Okay, so that's what I think. Back to the drawing board, start all over again. Get people who really want a community centre there, who really understand what a community centre needs, and do it properly. It's so disappointing. We've been fighting for this for 8 years and we end up with a crappy little room with a couple of toilets added onto it. So that's me. If anyone wants to ask me any questions, feel free.
Ali?
Jennifer, I really applaud your passion. I think we've all got a lot of passion about this project. It's been going a long time. Just playing devil's advocate a little bit here, though. Just because it doesn't fit what you want and what a few others are saying to you as well. Can I just finish my question? Just because it doesn't, you know, you wanted multiple rooms or you think that's going to work better. I appreciate that. Does that necessarily make what you're saying right, though? Isn't the point of having a working group to talk about these issues and then reach a decision that compromise amongst everyone?
Well, I think 3 rooms would be a good compromise, you know.
Yeah, but I'm asking about the group there. Just because you've got an idea about what it should be, this working group.
Yeah, but it consisted of people who opposed it. So why would they want something good?
Okay, well, I don't think people opposed it. They didn't agree with elements that had been consulted on in the past. What I'm trying to get to is because it doesn't fit what you want or what others are wanting, that doesn't necessarily make it wrong or not suitable, does it?
It might be suitable for some people, but I would say it wouldn't be suitable for the bulk of the community.
Okay, no, that's cool. I just thought I'd.
That's my opinion.
Sure.
And that's what I'm here for, to give you my opinion and the reasons for it.
Thank you.
I mean, look at other community centres. Do they look anything like that? The nearest one would be Richmond Community Cottage in London Street, and eventually that's been leased full-time to some drug and alcohol place because it was just too small.
So just one last question then. If you look at the working group itself and the positions that you're presenting today, who on the working group represented you and your views? Right.
But she didn't even get onto it until that had two meeting.
I just wanted to know that there was a voice on there. Okay.
Yeah, but she was only there for the last meeting.
That's cool. I'm sure we'll get to that.
Okay.
No, that's fine. Thanks, Jennifer.
Like staff have opposed this community centre right from the start. It's like we're just fighting with city council staff to get anything. And that's why I don't know about adding on later, like they're just going to fight us again. They wanted to chuck it out last year, you know, like we need you. We need you to be on our side. That's all I'm here to say. Thank you. Anyone else got any questions?
Right. Thanks for voicing your opinion. Next up, we've got Margaret Stewart. Same item.
Hi, so I'm Margaret and I obviously live in St Albans, but I'm 2 minutes walk from the Shirley Community Centre. So when I first moved in, it was wonderful. We did parent centre courses down there and I belonged to the family tree research place, and then there was a community open day and went to play centre in the grounds, and you could do pottery and all sorts of things. Now there was a toy library and now you can't do any of that. So it's very sad that it's been almost 15 years and we're still not getting anywhere. So while it's a relief to get it back in the long-term plan, so bear in mind that a group of us did a petition and we had 1,260 signatures, I think, and these were people who actually wanted a community centre. And I think everyone believed at the time that a replacement community centre would be more like what we had before. We have partly agreed that it may be too costly at the moment to rebuild to that size, so we have been prepared to compromise, but I don't see South Library being rebuilt at is it 1/5 of the size? Yeah, so Joan has looked at the figures and I don't see South Library being built at 1/5 of the size that it was prior to it being demolished following earthquake damages. So we'd just like a bit of equity in Christchurch, and I'm not quite sure what we've done in a previous life to deserve the fact that we're deemed less worthy than other people in other Christchurch, maybe because it's a lower socioeconomic area and those people don't have the voice that some of us do. And you have to remember as well that it's going to serve like 4 suburbs, so St Albans east of Cranford Street, because if you want these 15-minute cities, I can't walk down to the one on Edgware Road. I think that's more than 15 minutes. And then we've got Mariho, and then we've got Shirley, and then we've got North Richmond. So it's going to be serving 4 suburbs as well, whereas a lot of the other community facilities are only serving 1. So basically, disappointed that having had a budget allocated of 3.7 million, it turns out that someone's decided, we're not going to spend that much money. And that isn't why we went to the long-term plan meeting and all the councillors then decided to put it back in the long-term plan with this budget for a proper community centre. It seems like behaving a bit like insurance companies and EQC with backtracking on what's agreed and twisting things and gaslighting and things like that. So it's just basically that small thing there is not fit for purpose. It's not big enough for lots of people. There's someone at work I was speaking to just yesterday, and once it's up, and she lives locally, she'd be quite interested in setting up where people can come and do dance lessons and maybe have dancers there. But we can't do that with a little small room, and then what if someone else wants to use it? So we ran a car boot sale out of the site a few years ago, and we used all 26 car parks, and it rained a few times. So the third attempt, we actually held the event. So where would we fit 26 car stands and all the people and the tables and all the people visiting if it rains? If you have something that's smaller than a house type thing, 200 square meters, that's just not, it's not a community facility. So it's thinking about the bigger picture and thinking about how we're having all the infill housing in the area as well, and they don't have their own places to go now. Developers aren't designing.
I think that's right.
Right, carry on.
Carry on. So it's yeah, it's not fit for purpose. The population's expanding around here. People don't have their own places to go to now. They've been built right up against fences. They need somewhere bigger they can go to actually take part in community facilities and events, because, as you know, people get very isolated if they're stuck in their own little house, and mental health and things like that. And you're bound to have lots of groups wanting to hire it. I'm quite keen that once it's up and running is to book it out for a car boot sale once a month. When we ran our car boot sale, the people who took part were very keen for it to be run once a month. So that would be one day a month gone, just like that. So I'm sure there's other people. So looking at that current design, obviously it's very small. The intentions to do option 2 is to, at a later stage, put an extension on. But there needs to be some sort of promise that will definitely happen. And I'm not quite sure that original design is fit for purpose either. It's been done on the computer rather than having a proper architect round. So I'm not sure it's been thought through properly. And obviously there's the whole budget of 3.7 million and saying I'm going to spend 1.3. I don't think that's very acceptable. So how about it goes back to the drawing board, because it looks like a little mushroom shed at the moment. Like it won't have that glorious height that the previous one did. And since it's in the area for heritage as well, I don't see them any mushroom houses down Stapleton's Road or Chancellor Street and stuff like that. So it's not really in keeping. And then car parking space has been taken out. That's not appropriate, because if people are going to use the centre, they do need somewhere to park. Obviously, the pump track's in the way at the moment, so it'd be quite nice if that could be moved. As Jennifer said, no one's using it, just the little children. We've got adequate facilities elsewhere for a pump track. It was only meant to be temporary, and there is plenty of room over in McFarlane's Park to put a pump track. So move that over there. Then, and I'm not too sure about it being built on the banks of the Dudley Creek either. As you know, it floods, and Joe Byrne was responsible for the remediation, so we didn't have flooding in our local area. But if there's another earthquake, you just don't know what's going to happen with that land. So let's move it up safely further up, so that it's not, let's plan in advance rather than just do it anyway, and then we don't have to pay any more money because it wasn't there in the first place. So the pump track gets moved. The design could be moved further over, closer to the road, the Shirley Road, and then easy for people to access. And there've been more specific car parks as well, because I think they're an important part of it. I would dearly love, having been deprived the opportunity of joining this working group the first time round, I would dearly love to be able to contribute going forward in the future. It feels a bit mean being excluded when you've actually been the ones who've done the petition and found out what people want, and then we didn't even get an invite to the working group. So thanks to Pauline, Joe managed to get a place on the working group. The issue is it was more community groups involved, and the residents just didn't get a look in it all, and the residents will be the ones using it. The community groups already have their own facilities elsewhere in town, so I don't know why the residents didn't get consulted. And so obviously the budget was actually for a proper community centre, so let's get one built And then option 2, obviously, plans for an extension. I suggest we maybe put a further extension on at the same time and maybe get it all done now before building costs go up and we can get better value for our money. And obviously, this money that's been allocated in the budget needs to be ring fenced, so it can't be divvied off for something else just because you do an underspend. The money was granted for a community centre, for a property community centre. Let's build a proper community centre, not, I was calling it a toilet block with an added room on it. Or the other option is if you're going down to St Albans Park, you can see the sports pavilion down there and the design looks rather familiar. So that was that. And
You've got 1 minute left.
I've got 1 minute left, so I think that's probably it. And the other thing is the weather in Christchurch can be quite bad if you look at yesterday. So we really need more spaces where people, when the weather's not good, they can actually take part in a covered area instead of having to call events off. So I think we're really good to provide the facilities that are adequate for the climate that's down here. So let's just build a bigger community centre and just let's get it done, because we don't want to be here in another year's time talking around the table, trying to get the whole project fit for purpose. So thank you for your time, and do you have any questions?
Yeah, Victoria, you've got 20 seconds.
No, thanks. Margaret, option B is keeping the options open to get a larger footprint.
Larger footprint.
Recognising that we can't please everybody all of the time, would that larger footprint suffice?
What would just the original?
With the original, with that larger footprint added on for
size of that larger footprint.
Looks like it's an extra 100 metre square.
So what's that? 270. So that's still smaller than St Albans Community.
Regardless,
Centre.
is that something that you would be happy with?
It depends.
Is it something you could live with?
There's still leftover budget. I don't think we should be settling for 220 square metres either. If the budget is larger, I don't think we should be. As I said, the South Library has not had to cut its budget.
South Library is a library.
I know it's a library, but one of the purposes for this new building is, you know, how our library is quite small and we can't run the facilities that other libraries run. This would be ideal for
a compromise.
I'm saying it would be ideal for library staff. They could run those equivalent groups out of the new rooms up at Shirley Community Centre.
We have gone over time, so I'm going to stop there. Thank you very much, Margaret.
Like I said, budget is there, and I'd rather we don't want to have an underspend.
Thank you. Next up, we have Joanna Gold. Welcome along, Joanna.
Thanks. Good afternoon. 10 Shirley Road has been part of our community's local history and legacy since 1915. From 1915 to 2012, George Penlington's building was a historic landmark, a place of learning for the residents in our communities. The Chancellor Street Heritage Houses opposite the reserve are part of the Dudley character area that has its own design guide. In my opinion, this developed plan building is not consistent with the principles of the Dudley design guide. Since 2012, residents have been advocating for a replacement building. The last building was there for nearly 100 years. A one-room building which only allows for one activity at a time does not replace the former building, which had multiple rooms allowing activities to be held at the same time. The original building was 1,500 metres square. The new building is only 15.79% of the original building. Previously, the board asked staff to design an on-budget community building. Why hasn't the developed design been designed to the budget of 3.7 million? The quantity surveyor estimates 2.1 million, 1.6 million, which leaves a balance of 2.1 million. 2.1 million is a rather large contingency. Why are the residents in our communities being shortchanged? Currently, the reserve's grassy area where the former building was is underutilised. Yet in the plan, car parking that is used by Shirley Primary School and Shirley Play Centre is being reduced to add another grass area. The developed plan does not meet the community's needs. This building is a venue for hire, not a place to be that enables residents to participate in their community. The message this sends to residents on low incomes is this: if you can't afford to hire this building or pay to attend activities here, you are not welcome in this space. From researching the existing community centres, I have found there was no demand for a venue for hire community facility. I'm tired of driving past 10 Shirley Road that was set apart to be a community centre and thinking, what a waste of this land, when it has so much potential. Sorry.
You're right.
Take a minute, Joanne, that's fine.
This is one paragraph. Sorry.
Sorry.
Now, 10 years later, do we really need and want our current residents and future generations to look at this building and ask, what were they thinking? That's all I have to say, basically. I provided you with so much research, years and years of research. I've given you all the data, all the information, all the pictures under the sun, and still I just get ignored, and I'm sick and tired of it. Thank you.
Thanks, Joanne. Ellie.
Yeah, Joanna, further to that, the information you've sent us is incredible. It really is. All I can say is that it's difficult to manage it all. That's what I've found. And I've said that to you in a couple of emails, but the information that you've provided is quite amazing. And I know that you've got the website and the Facebook page as well. One question I want to ask you, and we've heard it a little bit already today, you're not after a replication of what was there, right?
No. The insurance claim was for a replacement building. So for the last, since 2012, we've been advocating, can you please just give us a building that is an equivalent in size that we can utilise for the community's needs now? I don't actually want a traditional community centre that is set up for everybody to hire out rooms and take over the space, because it excludes people like me. And it's like, that's why I've been asking for a community facility that is a citizen hub that has spaces that can be used by everybody, but people can still be in the place.
So you've seen the St Albans Community Centre?
Yes, but you still can't be in the place, and that's the problem. People in our communities are low socio-economical. Like, we've got Housing New Zealand and social housing everywhere. We've got infill housing coming in non-stop, and small places don't have big living rooms. Where are our families supposed to go? Where are our teenagers like my son supposed to go if they've got nowhere to go? They've got no money, and they're just walking around aimlessly, getting into trouble if they've got nowhere that they've got that is an intergenerational space, that we've got elders in the community who can mentor them. They've got young kids that they can be role models to. There needs to be a space that everybody is welcome and they don't have to pay to be there.
Thank you.
And just a quick one for me.
Your question. No, you can't, Jennifer, no.
Jennifer, just a question for me. I'm sure we all love that idea of this being a space where anybody can go at any time. How do you see that working when, this area, there's not a group that will obviously need somebody to run that? How do you see that working?
I don't see it working because of the divisions I know and you know about in this community. It's not going to work. As I read in one of the comments in the consultation, but somebody said it's going to be another haves community centre. It's not going to be for the have-nots, and it's not fair. Like,
Everyone wants to know how you see it successfully working.
I don't see it successfully working. I see it being taken over by whoever is able to hire it out, and that's not fair to the rest of the community. They're going to become even more socially isolated.
So what do you want to see though, Joanna?
That it goes back to the drawing board, and that, as I put in my formal complaint, and they said that the design my idea was not considered a viable option because nobody from the board or our existing councillors asked to increase the LTP budget. And it's like, I've been asking since, 2012, when I first turned up here and then went to the council and made my case to council, and they said, yeah, great idea. And then it's like, I've been fighting, can you please just look at and ask, why can't we incorporate the Shirley Library? That was what was supposed to be part of the feasibility study, and it wasn't enough information. I've provided so much information of why there is a demand at the Shirley Library. It's the second busiest suburban library, and yet it is the smallest, and the actual floor space is gradually being taken away from the library area. There's no learning spaces. There's tutors sitting in the children's area tutoring our youth because there's nowhere for them to have a meeting room or a learning space that they can be part of and get away from the noise. It's not fair, it's not equitable, and that's what the council is supposed to be doing with the equity and inclusion.
Do you think a
policy.
library is an idea and I know you've said that.
Yeah, because you can still incorporate all these community groups that need a space that they want to come in. You look at other libraries around town that are suburban libraries, even the Parklands Library, which is where I'm currently going, and it's a wonderful space. It's not a big space, but there's everybody there, all different ages and stages, enjoying the facility. And like, it's a community hub. Like, the librarians know if you're new or not. The kids know that the librarian's going to ask how their day was and know when they're coming and going. It's a real, like, this is what I see at 10 Shirley Road. It used to be people everywhere coming and going. It was alive, and instead it's just been dead in a wasteland since 2012, and it's not fair.
Thank you, thank you.
Pauline,
Yeah, so that is actually what you are wanting, rather than having a centre, no matter how many rooms it might end up with.
It's
That you
function,
what you
yeah.
want is a manned centre or a woman centre, somebody who's there all the time.
Professionals,
That's
the
open,
librarians.
A bit like
Yes.
Bunga, that's open, I think it's 9 till 1 every day.
Yes.
So somebody there, so people know, I kind of talk to it like it's a resource centre that if you need something, or even if it's company, you can go there and
Yeah,
get that.
there's
And that
no-
is what you
Yeah,
actually,
there's too many people who are socially isolated in our community.
rather than a locked up building that you have to
Yes.
book, and you can only do that if you can afford to do it.
Yes, exactly.
Right, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, great.
oh, thank you, Joanna. We do
Thank you.
appreciate your passion that you have for the project.
You
You
do,
the
yeah.
Sorry.
But you're putting it.
I didn't use up my 10 minutes.
Oh,
But you're credit. You can't.
you can't bank
You
it.
can't speak anymore, I'm sorry.
You can't bank it, Jennifer.
Well done, Jennifer, thank you. Jennifer. Don, you're up next.
Don't plan on crying today.
Long Don, you know the drill.
Right, yes, I do. Now, I've got a PowerPoint presentation. Did it make it to you? Yeah. Excellent. Throw that up on the screen. And then I'm going to break every rule in the book.
Jennifer, come in.
No, Jennifer can sit beside me if she wants, as long as she doesn't say anything. Right, in accordance with standing orders that says we do not criticise the staff, we do not abuse the members, etc. You look at that question on the board and you would think, where the hell is it going? I thought about that this afternoon, and I thought to myself, I don't actually know if you guys are taking this seriously. I just don't know. That doesn't mean you're not taking it seriously. That means I just don't know. Can we have the next slide, please? This, to me, looks like a box dumped on the back of a piece of land, is what I felt like when I first saw about it, and particularly strange. Why the hell is it there? Look at those beautiful curved paths in the bottom, and then that straight, ugly piece of new footpath running down.
So I need sustenance that you've got my full attention if I take some food, Don.
That's quite all right. I'm just happy to wait. I'm happy to wait. So look at the lovely paths, and then we've got a straight path. We don't seem to have any design detail in there at all for some reason. Don't know why. Just made me think, are they taking this seriously? I have to thank Emma Trudell, because she humoured me with half an hour of her time yesterday or the day before to run through a bunch of the issues on this. And listening to the submitters here today, this starts to get some clarity. So can we move to the next slide, please? That is the money shot, as far as I'm concerned, the most beautiful aspect. Next slide, please. And that is the ugly shot. Now, unfortunately, they're busy down there fixing the road down there, which is great. Thanks, guys. Thanks for fixing that road. And normally this would look like a car park, and you get the general idea. So if we could step back to the a couple of slides to the design. Why is our money shot basically a service wall? To me, this entire building looks like it needs to be turned around. Now, if I may stand up and just walk to the board for a second. Told you I was going to break the rules, but I'm still on camera, Chair, so if you all just humour me for a second. Can we just grab this little thing and go whip round? So we put the services down this side, facing the car park. It's got 5 toilets in it. Don't know why, don't really care.
It's the sunny side. Where the afternoon sun comes in.
The sun comes in, starts here, works all the way round.
Yeah.
I agree, but most of this over here is storage and what have you. Sorry, I didn't get the right. But if I may just ask the questions without the interjections, move these services around this side and then run these lovely verandas all the way around the other side, so you can have a view through the building out onto the beautiful community garden. Now, the reason I'm asking this question is because I'd like to address some of the comments that other submitters have made, and those questions are why? Why is this one room and why aren't there more rooms? Thank you, Emma. You asked the question, can we have 2.6 metre verandas on this thing? Now, looking at the design, it struck me that we can, what's happened to my clock? Is my clock up there? I'm wondering where my time's got to.
It's finished.
Have I finished my 10 minutes? Thanks, Sally. I'm wondering, I took one look at this and went, actually, we can put some cafe curtains all the way around that, and then we actually have 4 disparate spaces, one in the front, one on the side, and one on the back. If we turn the building around and put some verandas on there, and that way we've got breakout spaces, we've got one large space with up to 60 people seated at tables. We can move some tables out onto the verandas. We have terrible weather in the winter here in the city. It's cold, it's wet, it's windy. So cafe curtains perfectly. Then I come back to, can we go back to the first slide, please? And then I thought to myself, actually, maybe these guys are a lot more clever than I've given them credit for, and maybe they are taking this a lot more seriously than I gave them credit for. Can we flip forward one more slide? Joanna would like a library. Looks to me like you've got space to whack a library in front of that building, put a veranda on the back of the library, amalgamate all the verandas and the footpaths, and then you've got a walkway between the 2 buildings. You've got your learning spaces on the back, you've got your big meeting space, and then you've got your library up the front, and up the top corner over there, you've got places for your pergola for your kids to actually sit out of the rain in the evening if they want to come down and play basketball in the basketball courts, which they do love to. And the younger kids have got somewhere to sit while they watch, or the mums and dads. So my request today is that I think you should push this back, not accept the recommendation to go to detailed design, because I don't think you've got enough of a concept worked up here, in my opinion. That would be my request, that we just, as some of the other submitters have said, can we push this back for a bit of concept iteration? I've talked with some of the people on the steering groups, and I understand that some of these issues have been raised. I don't know why they haven't bled through. I haven't seen any minutes from any of the steering group, working group stuff. I just don't know, which is why I just asked, are we taking it seriously? That's my lot. I think I've said my piece. Happy to take any questions now or interjections.
Well, thanks, Don.
Have a quick one if there's time. Oh, there is, great.
Can I interject or not?
No,
No, I
you
can't, can I?
One thing that sort of scares me to death actually is this back to the drawing board comment that we're hearing, because we know that we've been dealing with this for so long. When you look at the building and the way it looks, I mean, for me, I like it. It's got that lovely sort of look of that area, and it's a sort of slightly old-fashioned looking, if you like. Is there anything in this, including the visuals perhaps, that you can use to move forward?
Yeah, absolutely, Ellie. As I just said, this is not a back to the drawing board, start again. This, as far as I'm concerned, is not a reconsultation with everybody. We're going to hear enough from everyone today. My argument would be turn the damn thing around, but if you don't, okay, don't turn it around. But the cafe curtains edition gives you those extra spaces. It's interesting, your question, because one of the things I was looking at, thinking about Jenny's home in the area, which is one of 5 houses of a period. And that's when I started to think, actually, it's quite in keeping to not deliver one massive building on that start, but to actually deliver multiple buildings that give the appearance that is actually in keeping with the small historic housing block that is across the road from it, which is why I questioned and pulled myself up when I said, are you guys taking this seriously?
Yeah, we'd have to ask that question though, Dom, because there could be economies of scale that we lose if we do that, so we have to ask.
On the terms of economies of scale, I'm very pleased that we're running back to 1.7 million, but I am kind of wondering why it's 1.7 million, given that that works out to be about 4,200 a square metre, and we build houses for $3,320 per square metre. I understand a commercial building is a little bit more expensive, but it seems a lot more.
A lot more toilets.
Sorry, would you? Yeah,
And they're accessible as well.
yeah, but so are our,
I think we'll talk about that when we.
so are our OCHT buildings.
Yeah.
Pauline, did you have a question because you wanted to interject? No, you do.
No, I just did interject. Thank you.
I do have a question for you, Don.
Yeah.
It's the chair that actually gives you.
Out of the options before us today, which do you prefer?
To be honest, you'd have to run through the exact options. I just came to present what I saw based on the designs and share a little bit of thinking.
Okay, well, basically it's the one that you included in your presentation. And then there's an option 2, which has an extra 100 square metres added.
Look,
The smaller one.
I didn't see it. I didn't see a design for that. The way I look at it, 6 of one and half a dozen of the other, because I see a big pile of space out the front of that building to be able to add another building at a later stage if the community rises up. You've said you haven't got anyone to run this building at this present time. Joanna's argument is, well, that's why she wants a library, because then you've got people on site who can supervise overseeing it and make it more available. From my point of view, another 100 square metres, 200 or 170, I leave that to you guys to just make up your mind. I don't have a...
Any more questions for Don?
Oh, yeah, just I do prefer to interject, but thanks for the invitation. Do you realise that the other space you're talking about to the north of the centre is going to be developed as a reserve, as green space? So that's going to it's kind of a separate project but linked. So there's going to be a beautiful vista looking out towards the north, where you'll have beautiful vista of plantings and new green space.
Well, as I see it, looking at the photos that I presented today, it doesn't matter how big, but you're going to have to put some pretty big trees in there to not make it look ugly looking across onto a main road. Whereas if you spin round the other way, that creek is just beautiful.
That is beautiful, but I certainly wouldn't support that, because it's the way people used to build houses in the old days, the wrong way round. You face the sun and it gives you more energy.
Okay, well, I'm not going to debate.
You realise.
I'm not going to debate and argue that with you, because at the end of the day, that's actually up to you members to make that decision with your maturity. I've shared my opinion.
Thank you. Just making sure that you knew that green space was going to be landscaped and made beautiful.
I appreciate you sharing that with me.
Awesome.
Great, thank you for your time, Don.
You're welcome. Thank you, guys.
Next up, we have Joe Byrne. Welcome, Joe.
Kia ora, I'm back again. Yeah, it's been a long time. And looking at the plans for this building, what I want you to think about is it actually future-proof? Because what's going to be built on that space will probably be there for 50 odd years, and there won't be another crack for our communities for decades. So I want you to think about, does that plan actually meet the community needs? And I think if we look around the city at successful community centres, they are not one room. They're not a little thing like that. And when we talk about a community group possibly coming forward or having librarians to run a space, they need office space, they need storage space, they need a reception area. They don't need a little shed down the back of Shirley Road. And I think that we have to think very carefully about the function of the building. One of the things that in the group that I spoke about was that what would be great would be to have activities from the library after school in the community centre. But we won't be able to do that because we don't actually have the space. And other libraries have mobile services coming out from Turinga. We can't do that at the Shirley Library. And having a space here that's actually functional, we could do all sorts of things for the community. And Jennifer and I, we were collecting signatures and talking to mums about what they wanted for their children. And we had mums saying, not every child's sporty. We need different sorts of activities for them. And it's a low socioeconomic area. It's an area with poor social capital. We haven't got big groups of middle-class people out advocating for that area. So, it's up to you guys. You've got to future-proof this plan, make sure it actually works for this community. And if you think about these plans, the agenda for this meeting came out 6 days ago. How is the community supposed to have a chance to feed back in 6 days? It's just so inadequate. I think what's really important is that the 3.7 million is ring fence specifically for the community centre, that we don't go around building band rotundas with that money, that it is just kept for the community centre. We're better to build a building that's functional and works for the community than building a band rotunda where kids will probably just get into very unsavoury behaviours. I really believe that we need multiple rooms. And again, we just look around the city at what's actually successful in community centres. And that's what we should be trying to replicate, not building a little cottage that's not going to meet the needs of the community for the next 50 or 100 years. Any questions? Ali?
Oh, I'm probably better to ask this of others that are coming up, but I just wondered, was that position something you really had to fight for in the working group with regards to needing more room and it not being one room?
The working group ended up being majority rules, unfortunately. There were some strong voices in the group trying to advocate for more spaces, but it felt like support wasn't there. And I think, there hadn't been enough thought about the function of the building and what sort of spaces we need. And I think, that should be driving design. It's not sort of doing it.
Back to that, Jo. So how did it start then? So as with the working group, if this wasn't it's one room, then it's not the full budget. What informed that position?
Well, I joined the group later, so I wasn't there for the initial bit, so I don't know what's actually happened there.
But when you arrived, it was one room and that's what was being discussed?
Yes.
Okay.
And I think the thing is too, that when I first saw the design, it's like a childhood trauma. I said, it's a Twizel house. That's what it looks like. And I think, that's not what we want for a special character area. It needs to be actually in character for that area.
Okay, thank you.
Victoria?
Thank you for coming and speaking to us today, Jo. If the add-on room was able to be separated, because we know that there's ways that they can design it so that you've got one large room, or whether it can be separated into two, do you think that that could be a compromise?
I think that the space is inadequate, so we need more rooms.
Even more than the extra add-on of that 100 metre square?
Yes, now what worries me if they build that extra 100 metres is how are those people going to access the toilets? How are they going to access the kitchen area? And talking to Emma about this in Albans Community Centre, there's a lot of social interaction in the kitchen area and things like that. So, we want to, and then you've got space for people to go and sit and have a cup of tea or something. You're not going to build community and capacity if you don't have the right facilities. And I think this is what the problem is. This little shed doesn't provide that.
Any more questions? Thanks. Thank you very much, Jo, for coming, for your contribution to the working group.
Thank you.
Finally, we have Murray and Jane here, who are presenting on behalf of the Richmond and Shirley Community Trust. Welcome.
Oh, we are on. Kia ora koutou, Murray James Aho, and with me is the lovely Jane from Shirley Community Trust. We also bring in spirit anyway Beck Ropergy from the Shirley Village Project, who's not able to be with us today. Jane is going to begin.
Right. So yes,
coming from Shirley Community Trust, but also I've been a resident of Shirley for over 35 years. And I just wanted to start with just a few points. The feasibility report that came out in 2023, when I read it, it kind of looked like it's followed on all the other reports and got feedback from all the previous consultations. And I know there've been quite a few over the years. And certainly our community felt well consulted about the Shirley Community Reserve through our newsletter, through people coming asking them questions, so they felt their voices were heard. And certainly what came through, what I was hearing, is that really in favour of the reserve as a real place of connection and recreation. And yes, I was privileged to be part of the working group, and there was certainly some robust discussion through it. And I actually think that the building proposal A is a good outcome. I know it wasn't unanimous, but it was voted for and there was a majority vote for that. I know the feasibility study did say that after all that input, that actually it was to have a small community building and enhanced reserve facility. So that was kind of its dream for the space. And I think small is an interesting word and it's all relative. In Shirley, we have two community buildings. We have a little neighbourhood centre and a park centre, and the neighbourhood centre is quite small and the park centre is considerably bigger. Both are very valuable spaces used in different ways by different groups. The park centre particularly is hired out to a lot of other groups. And this building proposed for the reserve is considerably bigger than our park centre. It's over twice the size. So I think it's a reasonable size and I don't think it needs another 100 metres added to it personally. I think it'll be really good to resolve it. I think it's gone on and on and on, and I would just love to see that. I think it'll be really sad to have to start again and to go through the process again. I don't think that's good use of council time or money or community time or energy. I appreciate that the building at the moment, this cost one is way under the budget, and I'd like to just kind of throw something out about what happens to that extra money that's in the budget. I appreciate that some would be to enhance the reserve, which is great. I think that would make it a great place. I also think, I know there's different community spaces for different things, and I know we're very privileged to have 3 community spaces with our park centre, neighbourhood centre and the community garden. And I think different parts of community and different ones in community need different spaces. Some feel really comfortable in the garden and wouldn't feel comfortable at all in a community centre, whereas some love the buzz of a small community centre and others. So I think you need a whole lot of range of spaces in community to actually make community work. And I was just thinking about Beck Roper-G, who can't be here today, and she is actually at the moment at the Q store next to the Palms. Now, the Shirley Village have been using that space every now and then for kind of a youth space, and they've done some mural work for the Palms in there, and they at the moment are there asking youth what they want. And I think it's a great space right next to the library. And I think if there's some extra money, it'd be great to think, how do we engage with youth? What are some youth spaces that need? Maybe that's a space that could be looked at as well as something that could get some funding. So I'd just like to say there's so many opportunities out there. I'd really like to support that the building goes ahead and that the green space, I think that will be a great for community. Thank you.
Tag on it. Look, We Are Richmond is aligned with the other organisations in terms of thinking. We've consulted quite widely across many events with our community and asked them, what do they want? What repeatedly comes back is good reserve space, good and enhanced sporting facilities, the courts that are there, and regularly the younger people say we would like a permanent larger pump track. No one says we want a massive 1915 institutional style building with lots of rooms, blah, blah, blah. I don't want to go over all of the stuff that's already been covered in consultation. Just simply want to say that following the working party process, which provided good and robust information to council staff, a proposal has been put together that we believe, We Are Richmond believes, and others in the community is adequate. A budget is not a target, or an allocation in the long-term plan is not a target to be spent in total. $1.75 million to deliver what is there in the absence of a clear and defined use for that building is perfectly fine. We as a community and representative of community will find a use for that once it is there. There is not a clear and evident one currently raising its hand. So why on earth build bigger? Why on earth waste money, and why on earth go back to the beginning and start consulting again? Let's not do that. Let's make a call. That's what the community board is going to be asked to do today. We don't believe it needs the additional space. It is fine as it is. It can be altered later when and if community and residents rise to find a use for that space. There is not one that is obvious and apparent right now. Good.
Thank you. We'll go Pauline and then Ellie.
Yeah, thank you. I'm just wondering though, and I hear what you're saying very clearly, that you don't think that it needs the extra space, but looking and thinking about another presenter who said future proofing, why would you oppose what is actually one of the staff recommendations for an extra 100 square metres?
Because I don't think it adds any amenity to that building. If you want to redesign it a different way and perhaps produce something that incorporates the 80 square metres of additional space other than just dropping it on the end of it, then yeah, look, maybe. But given that there is no defined use for the thing, council staff's view of having it as a bookable space is really the only logical thing that exists at this present time.
And what about the comment that any other centre that's only got one room doesn't really function as a community centre? That you actually do need. So, I mean, my view is that if we could get that 100 square metres not just plonked on the front, because I think that takes away the frontage, but there will be a way to incorporate it and to make it one to three rooms in there would actually make it a more functional space that would get used. Do you have a comment on that?
Well, yes, used for what?
Well, we do the Genealogy Society for a start. There's other groups. There's the library one. I mean,
look,
I could leave my debate, but I'm asking you.
Yeah, look, fundamentally, Richmond isn't opposed to redesigning. It isn't opposed to not redesigning. It just simply states the obvious. There is no apparent direct use that the building has been designed for. It has been designed as a bookable space, but waiting for someone to come up as the activation. And a building of itself does not activate community. People in the community activate community, and they will use what is available to do it. That's what's happened at McFarlane Park. That's what's happened at Revolution and Avonbury House. It will happen here to some degree, and the future will tell us what additional amenity, built amenity, might be required. To date, community has said that reserve amenity is important, that the pump track appears to be important for the younger kids, despite what others seem to have thought. We don't know what we're going to do with that building, if we're involved at all, and nobody else appears to either.
Ellie?
Yeah, I'm frustrated at how adamant you are about this, Murray, because I know that for a long time, and I don't want to draw a line between Shirley and Richmond because I get very tired of that kind of them and us stuff, and I'm not pointing fingers or blaming. But the point is, in the McFarlane Park area and the Richmond area, you have a number of facilities there. And I think, as you said, Jane, different communities need different spaces. So here we are, and very much I would suggest to you the Shirley part of the area. So people in Shirley, do you not think, so to use your words, different communities need different spaces. You've got awesome spaces in Richmond. Yeah, I just see this. It doesn't make sense to me. It almost feels like patch protecting, if you'll forgive me. And I don't understand why. I mean, we've heard what it could be used for. Can you just help me understand why you are so adamant about this, despite what we're hearing from people in the Shirley area?
No, I don't.
More of the Shirley.
I don't see those patch differentials at all, frankly.
We work well together. I certainly think as Shirley, I certainly haven't heard from the people that I connect with regularly in Shirley that they great need for a big building on that space.
No, not talking about a big building. Not talking about it. This is, I mean, as we heard, the original building was what, 1,100 odd or something? 1,500. We're now talking about something that
220 or something.
220 if we get, about 277 if we get the expanded. So we're not talking about a big building. So that, yeah, and look, again, I don't want to be argumentative about it. I'm just really intrigued by this the adamant position you're taking.
Oh, well, look, I wouldn't even say it's an adamant position. Frankly, 205 versus 277, if it's the larger.
177 without the 100, 277 with the 100.
Yeah, right, excluding verandas.
Yes, it is.
Either or probably doesn't matter. It's still a building of a certain scale, bulk and location. The space is enjoyed as a reserve. The space will be added to by the amenity that's put there, particularly access to ablutions, both from outside and inside the building. That is terrific. We just take the view, please just get on with it. Make a decision and go.
Okay.
If it's the...
Yeah, good, cool, okay. Thank you.
Right, no more questions? Cool. Anyway, thank you very much for taking the time to come and speak to us. Great.
Anyone else not got the hub? You got the hub?
Sorry, I've got the hub.
No access to the agenda.
Yeah, I don't have access to the
Access, but
I've got the hub, but I'm having issues
Issues with external websites on.
So are we recording?
If we're recording this.
Okay. So we do not have an agenda in front of us. I don't. I'm finding it quite frustrating. And I don't know.
Yeah, I've got mine. It seems to be.
Has anyone else not?
Yeah, no, I'm on, I've got it.
Yeah, all right, I'm sort of fly blind.
Not got, yeah.
Okay, items.
Yeah, do you want
No.
this one and I can?
No,
have any-
I printed out the whole Shirley thing, if you want that.
Oh, if you don't need it.
No, well, if there's anything.
I asked for a printed copy, but they can't even do that.
No, well, that's the whole thing there.
Thank you.
Right, so no petitions. Item 7 is briefing, so we'll move to that now. We've got,
Doing Shirley Road first, are we? No.
Briefings.
we've got
Yeah, I think we're doing Shirley Road.
got these guys waiting to do their briefing.
No, we're doing all this. Get rid of it. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
This hasn't got my annotations on it.
Oh, okay.
Has it got my shitty notes on it? Has it got my doodles on it?
Yeah, there's a bit of a coffee spillage there. It looks like red wine.
Yeah, that's. Yeah, bitch.
That's you.
You can use my annotations.
So the plan is, guys, we're gonna do this briefing, so then we'll jump to the Shirley item, and then the other briefing is starting.
Yeah.
Right. This is on the Westminster Depot development. Welcome along.
Thing.
Are we ready? Go ahead.
Kia ora koutou. I'm Claire Phillips. I'm the manager of the Community Planning and Projects team up in Civic, and my colleague Sina Mulitalo and our guest here, Waisa. We're here, thank you for seeing us. We're here to talk about a Pacific Hub. In May 2024, during the annual plan submissions, a large contingent of the Pacific community came and presented to council. And as a result of that, staff were requested to go away and do some feasibility and site selection for a potential Pacific Village hub for the Pacific community across the city. It's been a long dreamed of goal for you guys. Around 30, maybe even longer, 30 years. And many of the Pacific elders who've come before started this dream for the community, and a younger leadership now, 30 years later, is coming through and carrying the baton on. So during the process, Sina and I have been looking around at sites and doing some feasibility assessment and working with a newly formed Pacific steering group, which is a collection of the Pacific communities that are really interested in seeing this project forward. And so in the meantime, while we were out and about having a look at potential sites, Westminster Depot came up, and the community have said to us that they're really interested in exploring the potential for a new life for Westminster Hub. So I might hand over to you, Paula, just to maybe give the board a little bit of a rundown in terms of what the vision is. You're right, Trev, on your tree. Yeah, so I'm just going to hand over to Paula, thank you.
Well, good evening, the infamous Waipapa Papanui-Innes Community Board. Special acknowledgements to Deputy Mayor Pauline Cotter, Councillor Jack McClellan, I can't even see him, he's not online. No, Councillor, how are we going? Councillor Victoria Henstock, Chair Emma Norris, and Deputy Chair Simon Britton. For your reference, my name is Paisala Fair, and I am the Partnerships Lead for an organisation called Tangata Moana Trust. We are a Pacific non-profit organisation that seeks to exist to grow Pacific futures in STEAM. So that's science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics. Why would we do that? Because we believe there is a significant underrepresentation of Pacific in these sectors, and they are the fastest growing, highest paid roles that will eventually shape what the future Christchurch or Ōtautahi, New Zealand, Aotearoa, or the world will look like. So that's why we do what we do. A bit more of a softer note. My name, like I said, is Puasa. I do have a strong affiliation with the area here because I was the former president of the local rugby leagues club, and I was a player of the a team member in the last premiership winning team for the mighty Papanui Tigers. So that's 10 years ago. It's been a while since we've had some trophy in the cabinet. I am the father of 3 children, and it is probably one of the most trying jobs, 7, 5, and 3. And I am, like I said, a rugby league enthusiast. I'm married. I'm happily married. I'll be for the record, right? For the record, happy. Yeah. It's enough. So I know it's late in the evening, but very quickly, I'm going to give you, because I'm a strong believer, and you cannot. To know where you're going, you need to understand where you're from. And so I've just got a quick, brief history of Pacific peoples in Ōtautahi and Christchurch. And that is a very long extract that has been taken from a book, which is a new history of the University of Canterbury that celebrated the 150th anniversary or years of the institution. But basically what it goes on to explain is that Pacific peoples have had a long serving relationship connection, not only to the region, but to the indigenous peoples of the land, that being Māori, going back to 2,000, 6,000 years. Well, let's fast forward 2,000, 6,000 years. And we're in the 1960s where we start to see a significant influx of Pacific people in Ōtautahi. The Pacific story in Christchurch is a romantic love story without the heartbreak. And so what we have is a story of migration. We have a story of celebration, participation, and success. Top left image being Baine Ioane, the first time she stepped foot out of Rarotonga and stepped on new land in Christchurch back in the 80s. We go down to the bottom left corner where we have over 40,000 so-called attendees at Pacifica Canterbury Polyfest earlier on this year. What a beautiful setting, what a beautiful occasion right in the heart of the city, Hagley Park. Back in the 70s, for those of you who are young enough to remember when the Commonwealth Games was hosted at QE2 Stadium, we have the one and only one of our leaders, Mene, competing in the decathlon. What an absolute legend and prize for our community. And then we go to the top right corner, back to today, and we have the first University of Canterbury student representative president in Te Manurewa. Oh, beg your pardon, because I get real emotional, you see. I'm very passionate in the first student president of the University of Canterbury Student Association. So well done, Pacific peoples. And it's ironic because in a city that bears the name Christ and Church, Pacific or Christianity is now become a cornerstone or a pillar of Pacific culture. And so you've got 2 different images there. One, the thing I need to explain is when people are in the islands, you operate in your family, your ecosystem, your village, and then perhaps your wider district. But when you leave that behind and you come to seek better life, where do you go when you don't have that? And the church was that for many of the Pacific communities. And so back there is one of the earlier shots of the Trinity Paul Church, what was just the Trinity Pacific Presbyterian Church at the time, which has now evolved to the St. Paul's. So those are 2 different churches, 2 different snapshots of the same church. I believe they are 40 years apart. And whilst Pacific people, we often get bundled together, we are very different, distinct. We have our clear distinctions between the 2, between all the different Pacific islands. And what you'll see is a shot from the 2025 Tongan performance dancing happening in the top left corner. And then we've got a performance from the local Cook Island dance troupe back in the 80s, I believe. For over 40 years, our Pacific communities have dreamed about securing a permanent space for Pacific Hub in Christchurch. Last year, Nina Oberg-Humphries, Director of Tangata Moana Trust, made a submission to Christchurch City Council about getting this work back underway. Now, this submission was for a consideration for a Pacific hub in the long-term plan. And although unsuccessful, yet again, for that consideration, one thing that we are truly grateful as the Pacific communities is the work that Christchurch City Council have done through the Pacific Liaison and the Community Planning what do you call it? What's the title? Clear, yeah. And pretty much what Council have shown is that they are genuine in their attempt in working alongside us to be able to see this into fruition. The top left building is our site at 285 Cashel Street. We have a Pacific hub called Whaleeke. In that, we opened doors back in 2022, and we have had over 400 events in that particular space within that 3 years without any of our own programming counted into those numbers. We have a resident Cook Island dance troupe. We have the Samoan chief group that meet monthly, a number of community initiatives that utilize our space. However, we are on level 1. There is a lift that when you're in it, you feel like you're in one of those New York horror films. And then there is a very narrow staircase. So when it comes to accessibility, it's not ideal for our communities, especially when we consider our elderly or our matua and our disabilities communities. We move across to the top right, which is Maute House. So these are all sites that are dedicated to giving Pacific communities access to sites to use to run community programming and activities. This is Maute House. It's a beautiful site. You're right on the river, right in the Oxford Terrace. However, it's got a smaller kitchenette than I've got at home, and it has not one single dedicated car park. Okay, it is also for the community space around level 3, and again becomes the level issues for accessibility. I'm sure you're all familiar with the Multicultural Hub, which is a great facility. It's getting high usage from Pacific communities currently. It's central. It's got the biggest car park out of all the 3 different sites. The only thing that Pacific communities are telling us is that it is extremely hard to book. Because it is a multicultural hub, we're dealing with not competition, but we've got all of our ethnic counterparts or migrant communities that are also trying to secure space. This year, back to our history lesson. Oh, geez, how about this for a Thursday evening? Okay, 1987, the first submission for a Pacific Resource Centre. 98, Pacific Hub proposal. 2000, Pacific Village proposal. That was then recontinued into Pacific Village proposal, 2001. 2007, a community meeting with council. 2010, Pacific Hub proposal. 2011, Community and Christchurch City Council feasibility study. 2015, another consultation. 2023, Te Aratai Pacific students made a submission to council, and that was regarding climate change adaptation as well as Pacific Hub. And the last or most recent one was ourselves back in 2024 with Tangata Moana Trust submission. That was done in May. Within the next 2 quarters, we had contact and regular communication with Christchurch City Council through these 2 sitting to my left. And they said we are genuine in our wanting to make this happen. 2025 community consultations have commenced. We then have identified the potential sites in June, earlier this year. July, we have the formation of a project group. This is a group of individuals who are skilled or experienced, trained professionals that will be able to help us on the project. And then September updates to Waipapa Board, which I am in front of you today. Community consultations, as I have been tasked with the great opportunity to front my community. And if you've ever dealt with Pacific communities, the Pacific mamas, anything over 65, you are in for a challenge. And you will get told every reason why you can't do it. But then by the end of it, have a cup of tea and tell you that I'm just talking to you like my baby and my son. And the 2 main objectives for community consultations have been to identify community need and seek community support. These are all groups that we have either dealt with, we've gone and run community consultations with them, or we've had representatives of the organisations that we've connected with. So these are all different Pacific communities within the region, and there are still more that we have yet to reach. We have not yet started churches. And this is a massive task. And so if you think what we've done there, we've got a mixture of Pacific health providers, we've got preschools, we've got high schools, youth voices, we've got Cook Island language classes, dance troops, anyone and everyone. We've been to the Rainbows communities, we connected with the elderly group. We've also got the Whangwhawhau Samoa Christchurch, which is the Samoan Advisory Council for Christchurch. This is the longest serving Samoan group of chiefs. And then we've also got a few sports clubs in there as well. One thing we've identified, our community key priorities are these top 4 things. This is probably reflective of, can we keep an eye on time?
Yeah, I think you might be.
Oh, yeah, getting there? Okay, okay, cool. Cultural workshops, languages, language class, Pacific arts, spaces, and economic development. These are the 4 things our communities are telling us. This is the beautiful site that is within your ward, 280 Westminster Street. And I believe currently there are plans to, with the green box in that image off to the right, to be scraped back and another field be put in. We also have that blue section, which we've been told is yet to be scraped back and potentially a car park put in. And then there has been some discussion about whether that red box could be something that could house a Pacific hub for Pacific communities in Christchurch. These are some conceptual drawings, and they are not to scale. However, they're just some rough ideas that our architect has kind of come up with, so that you have something to look at tonight, I suppose. That's the existing dwelling. Obviously, we have been told that the area has been attracting antisocial behaviour, and we think that, just like this romantic love story, is the perfect match. Thank you very much for the opportunity, and I'm more than happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you very much. Victoria and then Ellie.
Thank you very much. I'm keen to understand, in terms of Christchurch's geography, where is the larger proportion of your Pacific community located within the Christchurch City and Banks Peninsula? So I'm trying to understand why Westminster, why this part of the city, and is it accessible and close to your communities?
I could perhaps give you a fair idea on that. There's over 16,000 and a half Pacifica peoples that reside in Christchurch. Almost 11,000 combination of Central Ward and also the East Side live around this area. So which is why it's appropriate. It's accessible space, central to those populations that are in the East Wards and also the Central Wards, where the larger population of Pacifica reside in.
Thank you.
Ali?
Sorry, I just had a bite of my biscuit. Performance space. Are there any issues with regards to vehicles, people, noise? It's a residential area, right? And by the way, awesome to see some positive news for the site, because it's just so awful and it's in such a great spot. So I just want to say that first. But yeah, use of it, are there any limitations? Will there? But yeah, just can you talk a bit to that, please?
Yeah, I think working with Maria Adamski in the property, Maria, you might be able to answer that question a little bit better than us, but I imagine that community engagement would need to happen, and the local neighbour, the neighbourhood would be involved in that process. But building, large, buildings that make noise, that would all be part of that process.
As far as I understand, we've been engaging with our planners in council, and what they've advised from the district plan, the type of activity that the hub will produce is aligned with what is regulated or permitted on that site.
Right.
So there are noise levels that we can keep to, and the planners will be able to help us work through that and ensure that if there's any resource consents that need to be applied for, then we will.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're a diverse area. We've got Caledonian Hall and the bagpipes, so if we could manage that all right, I think we'll be fine with this. Yeah, thank you.
If I could just jump in there as well, I believe our meeting with the resource consent manager, was the building consents, There was one quote that I took away from the whole hour, and that was, "This is the perfect project for this site." And for over 30 years, he's worked for council. He had never seen something that clean. And I'm fairly skeptical myself when I hear things that are too good to be true. But for him to sit there across the table from us, that's...
What do you think he meant?
He said that, okay, for the scale or for the activities that we hope to conduct within that particular location, we're on the back of all these fields. There's an opportunity to manage and put in car parks wherever we see fit. So that's kind of what he was referring to.
Okay, thank you.
I'll go Emma and then Sunita, you had a question.
More than a question.
I was going to go Emma first.
Oh, sorry. So the Samoan church that's on the corner of Westminster Hills Road, are involved in this at all? And is there any thought of, because it's quite a dangerous spot right there, and a lot of young children on that corner on Sundays and so forth.
Great music when you're getting your fish and chips though, isn't it?
Any thought of combining that down into this space as well, or are you in collaboration with them?
Yeah, we, as we go step through the phases, but that'll probably be the next phases to work with a concept designer or an architect that will extend their services to the local residents and consult them as well, including those the people in the corner at the Samoan church. We understand there's some issues with the traffic in that area, so we're hoping that as part of the plan that will help mitigate some of those issues that the current residents are experiencing in the place.
Awesome. And sorry, one more question around money.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a sort of a project of moving parts, millions of them, and it's a bit like the chicken and the egg, what comes first. We've had preliminary discussions with Rata and Lotteries Facilities, who have indicated really strong support for this. As part of getting funding from them, we have to have architect designs and a location. So it's not just a concept and hope that you get the funding. It really does have to be worked up quite significantly before they buy in. But in principle, and the concept are really supportive, as are the Ministry for Pacific Peoples as well. So repairing, the question is really whether the community would want to repair that building or demolish it and start again.
And would that be up to
part of the feasibility?
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. So, it's not more of a question, but I think you've answered partly. At the stage of concept design, you'll include ARA and UC's Pacifica group as well.
Yep,
they have got a wealth of knowledge and quite a lot of groundwork is there, and they might be able to pull young people to put their opinion in there.
Absolutely. We are currently in conversations with those institutions such as ARA, who have been working with other groups, Pacifica groups as well, that are interested in setting up something similar in a smaller scale. But they are happy to share the concepts that they're currently working on with a well-known architect from Auckland, who has been able to give them cultural competence in their work too. So this is another avenue where we can support our, architectural students here at ARA and also UC to help them develop their cultural competencies and their skills as well and work.
And reason I said is because I work for ARA and I share my office wall with Pacifica office. So I hear a lot of things, good things they do. Please utilize them. Yeah.
Very great.
Pauline?
No, mine was the same as that. Thank you.
Victoria?
Well, thank you. This one's also for staff and to understand the insight. Do we know if there's any land contamination issues on the site that may impact the options that are available?
The site is partially an old landfill site. However, the area in which we're speaking about here was not part of the landfill, so it's just outside that area.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Did I miss something, or is it what's the lease arrangement, or what's the?
No.
Well, we're not entirely sure. I understand that there was an expression of interest process that went out a few years ago that didn't yield anybody appropriate.
Right.
And so we aren't thinking whether that's an expression of interest or whether it's a, what is it, what are they, unsolicited proposal?
We would be
seeking an unsolicited proposal for this.
And then any details about cost benefit analysis and yeah, okay, cool. Thanks.
Great. Thank you so much for coming and getting us on about that exciting development.
Thank you very much.
We look forward to seeing how it develops. Hopefully we can at some point soon welcome you into the area.
A cool board. Well, maybe you could, be working with the.
Just before I do leave, I do want to wish anybody seeking reappointment all the best on the campaign.
Where do you live?
Fortunately.
Not in my ward.
Very much.
Hey, you go the courts.
And we're now going to jump to item 8, which is the Shirley Community Facility.
Tennis court's got a couple.
So ask.
I haven't had
Lena.
staff on to it.
John, you can come.
Must go back to the police.
They don't use, they'd be good if you follow.
Articulate.
Oh, you're an amazing man.
Well, I do my.
Thank you. Not you. Oh, gee.
Well, I've fixed the internet. What more do you?
What are you, magic? There'll be time.
Yeah.
Thank you.
To go and grab my jacket.
Very good.
I'll bring along. You next time.
Thanks.
Oh, look, from a rug home.
Yeah, that's it.
Like being in an old people's home.
Right, welcome along, Matt and John. Over to you.
Well, thank you very much. I wrote some introductory remarks. I don't normally do that for the board, but for a report, but I thought this is quite a milestone for this particular project. And I wanted to make sure that I acknowledge that and that I acknowledge the work that the Working Party have done. So thank you very much to them. They've put their time and effort into this project. They've helped us get to this stage. There have been plenty of robust discussions. We've had various iterations and various drawings of a building. We've looked at different designs. The input from local residents and community groups who understand the community needs has been invaluable to get us to where we've got to. So I wanted to say thank you to them. Also with us tonight is Selena. Selena has been excellent. She's the project manager. She's worked this up. She is waiting in the wings in case there are any technical questions that come for us. I'll take the report as read. We've heard a lot from the deputations. You may have some questions. Essentially, we're after a clear steer from you so that we can move it from the design stage into that detailed planning and delivery. The two options, just for the sake of clarity that you've got in front of you, the two big options. The first is a design that serves the community. It's been endorsed by the majority of the working group and it provides a possibility for an extension in the future. That's option 1, around 180 square metres. The second option, the working group said in the report, how we didn't take that to the working group, that came after. There was a comment at the end of the working group session said, what about future? What would that look like? We've asked the architects to work up future. That's that extra 100 square metres. That would take the building to 280 square metres. We believe that that is deliverable within the budget. So we believe that you could be delivered that. It's for a larger building. We're confident it can be delivered. It would take more time to work out that design. So we're not suggesting that you take option 1 design and just stick a piece of building onto it. We would then work through what that would look like. So option 1 brings you something which can be delivered pretty quickly. And we know what the budget is. Option 2 gives you a bigger building. We would work out what that would look like inside the internal.
Was there anything else you want to speak to, or are you good to go for questions?
Good to go.
Okay, we've got Pauline.
Thank you. I would like to move option 2 with a couple of little tweaks that I've to mark already. And it's just to approve the developed design plus an extension to the building to make the centre large enough to contain 3 separate rooms while remaining within budget for inclusion in the detailed design phase and associated comprehensive project cost report. C, 5C, construct the building with an internal raked ceiling. That means you don't have that, you have it, Kelly, you might know what it's called, it's open ceiling. Gives that.
Cathedral ceiling. They call it a cathedral gable, yeah.
D, include solar panels and a battery. E, request provision for a small office space, and F, include and fit a large screen. So I would like to move the rest of the recommendation, but that is instead of B.
Pauline, can I jump in here? Have you got
Yes,
Wi-Fi?
I have now.
Yeah.
Do you want anything back?
Oh, yes, thanks. Look, can we talk about that, because that's really close to where I'm at as well.
Yeah.
And
So can we get a seconder first, and then together we can agree to.
Okay.
Second.
Oh,
No.
I take my hand up first.
God.
Can I ask this around that too?
Amendment.
Yeah, go ahead.
Where it says 3 separate rooms, could it be 3 separable rooms? So that it could be one
room
space
that can
but
be
Modular.
modulated.
Well, how about we put separate or separable? Because there are challenges with separable as well, especially budget wise, but I'm happy to do that.
And so this is proving something that's not necessarily just the plus 100 square meters. This is still not actually, this hasn't got a size on it.
Are you meaning
No,
the
Matt.
extension as an option 2 in the?
100 square meters.
Is this a 2+? This is an option 2+.
Yeah. Because I think that Lynn told me that Winger is 250. And so an extra 100 makes it 280, which is pretty big.
It's quite big, yeah.
I think it's enough. So anyway, that's
Can I also?
happy to discuss.
Yeah.
Can you talk me through the provision for a small office space, please? Is that so that if you have an operator, they have somewhere to operate from?
Yeah, that doesn't.
It's a bit like Kahinga, right?
Yeah, can be smaller.
Yeah. Just inside the door when you go, there's that little office space.
See where the bike stands.
Yeah, it's nice. All right.
We're just talking about Pauline's resolution at the moment.
So does it need to be a separate office, or could it be include design, flexibility for provision of an office space?
I'm concerned about being too prescriptive at this stage too. I think this is positive because these are the things we
like
look
it,
at.
but I wonder whether there can be some flexibility built into
What was
E.
your reading, Victoria? This is E.
Something request flexibility of design, allow for an office space.
That'll do.
Right, yeah.
So it doesn't actually have to be a
so
separate
that's E.
room.
So
Request
flexibility of design or provision for a smaller.
Yep.
Yeah.
That works, right?
So
Yeah.
Where's a flexibility of design for spaces? Is that?
No, we're
brings up
talking about an office space.
Thank you. Did you, that's, are you
That's
next? Thank you, yeah.
So all of this has to be within the 3.7 budget.
Yeah, right.
And I'm keen.
I'm wondering if you might also add something else.
Yep.
Mark, don't put up there. Number 8 from one. It's requesting that staff investigate and advise on options for applying the remaining budget in the LTP line item towards outdoor improvements, including recreational play and social spaces, consistent with the mixed use vision for Shirley Community Reserve.
Don't support that.
No,
I don't.
in fact, I think really that we need to put, instead of that, we need to say that that if there's any remaining budget, that it stays in that program and in that project for at least 2 years.
I agree.
Yes, I agree.
Sort of for a,
That's
not
what my
just
preference as well.
defect liability, but also for in case there's anything that's been missed.
What do you
We want to
learn?
get it right.
I've got a question.
So would the board support that wording?
Oh, hold on, can we talk about it first? Because with that, the one thing that all the groups say is there's no one to activate the site. So in our budget, we have the money to actually put money in there to pay for a person for 2 or 3 years.
No,
to
that's
activate.
activating. This is why.
But it's activating the site. And they keep saying, we know that activating a site requires a
If there's
person.
a capital budget, it can be.
It'll happen.
Okay.
There's an OPEX budget too, though, is there not?
No,
No, it's not.
Ellie?
Yeah, look, I just had a question around the budget side of things, so.
Well, we're still on.
Oh, sorry, we're talking about yours.
Pauline's proposed resolution.
Well, I think, can we just leave it sitting there, because I think some of the questions might feed into that a little bit too, because
Well,
mine's
this
about.
can be changed if the mover and the seconder agree.
Yeah.
Yep, but the budget stuff I'm asking about, I think relates to what you've got in there, Pauline. Unless there's stuff that's specific to those items.
Well, how about we just leave that as it is for
Yeah.
now, and we'll go to questions.
Yeah,
Okay, just while you're talking about it, I'm going to ask to put the rotunda separately because I don't think that should be in the scope of the building.
What's that?
Rotunda.
Can we ask questions of staff on that?
On this.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm, yeah. So what I was going to ask about, so I made some inquiries, but I have to say I was frustrated with that second option coming to us without any figures. I was extremely grateful for a second option coming to us because to be presented without one option as it was, as I think my colleagues will know, was making my ears blow off the side of my face. So 177 square metre building, and this has been costed by the QS that's doing the Edgware pool. So this is a high, a well-respected qualified QS. So he's costed at around 900K, including GST. He says that will pick up some of the costs of the enhanced foundation that will be needed. It doesn't include fees, contingency, consent, etc. The add-on will be interesting. He says, how will the roof work? Are they salvaging cladding and exterior joinery? What happens to the bullnose veranda too? Now, I know these are little things in their design issues, but they're important insofar as not throwing good money after bad once you've built the thing and you're adding on or as you're redesigning. So he says 1.8 million is a huge budget for this building as it currently sits. You will be better off to build the 277 square metre and you will save money. 277 square metre is times 5K per square metre is 1.385 million plus fees. So if say 250K, it works out at 1.635 million plus GST. So that's 1.9 million for the bigger building. We have a budget of 3.7. So the point that I'm making is, and the changes that Pauline, or the things that you've suggested there, Pauline, which I agree with, we have a massive difference between what is being proposed and the costs for it, and what a qualified QS is putting on the bill from the plans that he's seen. So I'm feeling really unsure about the robustness of the information that we've got here. Sorry, my question is, why did we have a building designed at 1.7 million when there was a budget of 3.7 and we'd had feedback that there needed to be extra spaces, a number of spaces and so forth? It seems so under budgeted for me. Can you talk to that a little bit, please?
Yeah, Selena may want to join in. I would say we didn't design a building to budget. We designed the building and then we costed it to find out how much it would cost for it. So it was never designed to budget. The budget that was put into the LTP was put in a number of years ago and wasn't based on a scope. So there was a figure which was sitting within the LTP. Based on the feedback from the feasibility study, some of the things that we've heard tonight, for a smaller building which made the most of the green space and provided a place for people to go. And based on what we know works elsewhere and working with parks, there's some money in the parks budget to look at landscaping for the park. So we worked with the parks unit. We said, where would a building best be placed? What would that look like? And that was our starting point, and then we built the budget that way. Because we didn't work backwards.
I mean, I think about the St Albans build, for example. I mean, that was very much designed around a budget. I mean, I've never heard of a situation where community have been asked to design something and then you look at the budget. Surely you have to know what you're working with and work to that budget.
We were confident with what we were thinking that it would come in within that budget.
Were you trying to save money?
No.
Okay. All right.
Valley,
Well, what's the reason? That's what we going
for value for money, but we weren't looking to come in with a saving.
No, I had to ask you that because
it's good.
Right, I'll go back to my list of people with questions. But I'm just going to jump in first, just because I can. I know we've got Megan from the Parks team online. I think it might be helpful. I know your plans for the reserve, Megan, are in the very, very early stages, but can you give the board some outline of what the vision is and how it fits in with the staff recommendation for what I've got today.
Yeah, sure. Kia ora. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Kia ora, everyone. Sorry, I couldn't be there in person. I'm actually at another board meeting at the same time. So apologies. At the same time as working with the community facilities team, through engagement, we heard a lot that the community wanted to maintain some of the open space. So we have a budget that's set aside in the LTP to develop that space, and the types of activities that we're looking in is to develop a possible youth hub around a basketball court and the pump track renewal. We're looking to renew the play space or the playground, and then hoping to, alongside that, maintain some level of open space in connection to the Dudley Creek. And that's, I suppose, what we've been working to in regards to setting that budget aside as well. And yes, I'm happy to take any questions around that if that's unclear. I did send through to Mark a kind of high level concept plan, and that's a sketch from someone in my team, and we're looking to develop that further following this decision to know what size of the building has on the impact on the wider space.
Mark's just finding that now to share, because this was shared with the working group the very first meeting before we looked at the building designs. And I think it's important that the board sees this.
Yeah, and there was a reduction in car parking was mostly due just to maximise the space available to get all those activities into the park. So you would have noted that on the concept design for the community building.
Can I just ask why we've never seen this?
Because at this point in time, we've only created a project brief. We're just starting to engage a landscape architect, and then we were going to be coming to the board following this decision. We didn't want to get too far ahead with any concepts or designs, not knowing the impact of the community facility on the wider space.
But Megan, this was shown to the working group, I understand, before the working group meeting started, which would have been in about May, I think.
I was at
the it was shown just for the purpose of there was a question straight up. What is the plan for Shirley Community Reserve? And we said that we're working with community facilities, and this is a type of space that you could see. Once this facility decision is made, we can then edit and resolve what we'd like to see in this design, and then we'd be back to the board to talk to you about it before any engagement.
The building.
Yeah, no, I do understand that, but seeing the basketball court relocation and the decommission of that, I mean, this is a really important area that many, many people have been involved with for 10, 11, 12 years now. And I have to say, as an elected member, I'm really disappointed this is the first time I've seen it. But anyway, I've said my point and I've made my point. Thank you.
Yeah, apologies. It's just for our project brief to start the project. That's the purpose of this plan.
Okay.
Thanks, Megan. Right, now we'll go back to the questions. So I got Pauline first.
No, I think I was okay. I think
you're okay. Okay. Alex.
But just while Megan's there was a little mention about curvy paths around the centre, which I thought was interesting. I'll leave that with you.
Yeah, I noted that. Thank you.
Ellie.
Yeah, I wanted to ask, it was just really interesting looking, and I'm not going to go back over the stuff because we're here where we are now, and let's just try and move forward. I wanted to look at the decisions that were made in the last meeting and who was there and what was decided. Because, you know, we've talked about it wasn't unanimous. Well, no, it wasn't unanimous. So I think you had 8 members. You had 4 on the day that voted for the smaller building. You had 2 who voted against it and 2 who weren't there, right? So the 2 who weren't there were Lynn O'Keefe from SARA and our central councillor, Jake McClellan. Is Jake with us today? Sorry? Yes, okay. So, and Lynn has since emailed us, and I think everyone's got that email, saying that she now, and please correct me if I'm wrong, I've only looked, I would like to confirm my support for option 2, which is the larger one. So we've got 4 against 3, and Jake's online today, yeah?
Option 2 wasn't presented to the working group.
Okay, right.
So I wouldn't want to speak for Lynn and suggest that she would want option 1.
No, I get. So I guess the point I'm trying to make is that what we've got is on that last day, the working group hadn't seen that second option.
Correct.
And so it just feels weird. We're now looking at these without the working group that had that number of meetings and them not being able to feed back and input on this. What's your take on that from a process perspective? I don't want to slow this down, but what does that mean?
I think in an ideal world, if it weren't September in an election year, we would come to your next board meeting.
Right.
I think you've got a number. I think you've been a board that's been engaged in this the whole way through.
Yeah.
You've got a lot of people that are invested. You had 3 board members who were part of the working group who came along. We've had those conversations. We felt that it was important for the minute of the board to make a decision.
Yep. Sorry, just one follow-up on that. I'm not saying this would happen, but if it went to the next meeting so we could thoroughly look at this option 2, I'm still not comfortable about that 100 square metres sort of being locked on, because I think there are other design issues that we need to look at. I'm not a designer. If we did that, and we made it quick, how much longer would this take to get to, say, detailed design stage?
I think the decision that we're looking for tonight is a clear, do you want option 1 or do you want option 2? If a larger building in the budget is what you want, we'll then go away and work that up. It wouldn't be you get option 1 with a box built onto it, which is we would go away and we would work that up. In terms of how long that would take, I wouldn't want to put a time frame on it, but we would go as quickly as we can. We're very aware that parks are working through the landscape design, and there are efficiencies of scale and efficiencies to be had in terms of the budget to do 2 things at once. So we wouldn't want to go too slowly.
Is there enough? Sorry, John.
We would also cost it up. Because the worst thing that we can do at this time is make broad brush cost assumptions. We've got a accurate costing for the working group's preferred option, but we haven't got that information for a bigger facility. So when we came back with that, we would have that costing.
Appreciate that, which is why I got the QS information. I know you haven't verified it, but I don't like making decisions, as I'm sure my colleagues don't, without the information or even a ballpark figure. That's why I've got that information there, so at least we know it can be done within budget. The other question I had to ask is there enough flexibility? Because I had to say it was a big report and there are a lot of drawings. If we went with option 2 with Pauline's additions, is the drawings and wordings are not prescriptive to the point that we won't have room to move around what you've just said, Matt? Is that correct? Can I just get confirmation on that there is wriggle room there?
If you go with option 2.
Yeah.
Correct.
We could put a noting provision at the bottom.
Yeah, that we will be getting a
redesigned.
That's
tweaked.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no reason why you couldn't just put 100 metres on the whole footprint and stand it out.
You haven't asked us to do that, though. That's not what the resolution says.
That's why I'm asking.
Ask you that.
That's what I'm asking. What does it need to say?
I'm not actually sure.
Okay, so what I'm saying is if we go with option 2, which at the moment, and we might be wrong, and I don't want to speak for everyone, I thought was option 1 with 100 square metres tacked on.
It's just making the building bigger. And the only way we can make it bigger is to go north of the building. We can't go back to the creek.
Right. Yes, but you can put the whole of the north, so it's still a straight line going out. Yeah. But we could say make the footprint bigger. That would give you the scope to go around.
Yeah.
So can we just
we have got solar panels, by the way. We have to bear that in mind as far as
it's a no-brainer.
So we'll just leave that there, but we want the battery as well.
So just to clarify again, so if you made the building bigger, that doesn't affect, for example, so it's like going like that, right?
Yeah.
Is that essentially okay?
Yeah. And with what you've suggested, Pauline, the floor plan obviously would change to accommodate.
Right. Okay, and as long as the wording says that,
we need to put something in about that then. And even if it's a noting provision, noting an increased size would
change the layout.
Where is option 2? Can we just see?
I'm not sure what. Sorry, I'm not sure what a 6A. What you mean with the ceiling? What is it that you're wanting to do?
So
do you mean expose the?
Yes.
Okay. So no ceiling, And you mean you can see all the services, because we've got quite a few services in there, like the industrial look?
No, it's like a cathedral
So-
roof.
So still a ceiling,
Yeah.
But it follows the shape of the roof.
Not like
I don't know
this.
what it's called.
so not
Cathedral, it's
flat.
called a cathedral.
Is it?
Super. We've got it at our place, yeah.
Right.
Is there a better word?
No, that's fine, I know what you mean. I'm not nice.
So can we go through the wording, please, just so we can be
You
sure?
want Selena to go through number 5 there.
So that's essentially option 2, is it there?
Shall we say approves the developed design plus an extension to the building?
No, that doesn't sound
By
right.
increasing the footprint.
No, it can't be the developed design plus an
Bigger building. Improves the building, but make it bigger.
Approve the bigger building option.
Hey, I've got a question.
Yeah, we'll get to you. I've got on my list here.
Can we just say
Going.
not approves the developed design plus an extension I do not like? That sounds like a clip-on. So
Plus an increase in the footprint.
Yes. Plus
What
an
did you
increase
say?
to the footprint. No, with an increase to the footprint.
Yeah.
Yep. Thank you.
But aren't we, by approving the developed design, aren't we approving what's being presented to
The
us?
developed design.
No, my interpretation of that is, yes, you want to proceed with the building, but you want it bigger.
Develop the concept.
Okay.
The staff understand what it.
And you want the layout to potentially change.
Yeah.
But
Yes, because that's what
what you're approving is
We should use words.
the character look to it and kind of that look and feel.
the visual amenity would be the way we'd refer to it, I guess.
And then we'll, and the fact that you can have a kitchen there and people are going to be able to come in.
Would we not say approves the developed design visual amenity? Because that's what we're approving, isn't it? We're not.
Isn't that a concept design? Isn't what we've got as a concept design?
No, it's
Further than that.
we have.
Further, okay.
So you're right with the external. I mean, that's what the working group, yeah, okay. The flexibility of design for provision for a small office. I mean, I would just say you want a small office space.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Provide a small office space.
Include a small office space.
Yeah.
Include a space. No, include a small office
It
space.
doesn't have to be small. Why can't we just put office space?
Exactly. It doesn't have to be like.
Because we're in the modern times now.
So
What is that?
Include panels and a battery, including.
Right.
And the Wi-Fi you said was in there, right?
Yeah.
Yep, okay.
Okay, I want to go back to why do we need the word small in office space?
It's irrelevant, it doesn't matter.
It is irrelevant.
Leave it as it is.
Take it out.
And if they want.
I'm fine to take it. It'll be what it'll be. What you put it in there.
It's fine.
what's including a in the lab?
When the design will come, we will know how big it's
We
going to
talked about that in the meeting.
Tech.
No. Okay, so I just want to go wording because I think we're nearly, does everyone feel like we're nearly there?
No,
Yeah.
I don't.
approves the.
We've still got questions.
Okay.
Questions to come.
Okay, sorry, just wait, stand by. So we've got the Lynn thing, who's put that in, Jake not there on the day, but is there now. Oh, I suppose it's irrelevant to ask him. Yeah, should we ask him what he thinks then? Because he was part of the work.
About option 2.
Well, no, yeah, I guess.
It's hard for him to say that when he's seen option 2, which nobody else on the list had seen.
No, but Lynn's come back and said she likes it too. I mean, yeah.
That wasn't with that proviso.
No, okay, all right, no.
Don't forget, we've had submitters submitting opposing option 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Jake, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm supportive of option 2, absolutely.
Yeah, okay.
All right,
Thank you for that. No, that's fine, thank you.
Victoria's next on the list.
Thank you. You heard some concerns expressed by those in deputation today about the makeup of the working group. Any comment on that?
I was just swallowing. Thinking. Dramatic pause. We worked with the governance team to do that. So that would be a question that I'd direct that way.
The working group was made up of groups, community groups. originally Mark Wilson, who was part of the original Shirley Road Central group, was invited to join. He resigned from Sarah, and then Lynn O'Keefe took his place. So yeah, it was working with groups that were within the Richmond Shirley community rather than individuals.
But not the school.
Big Rugby G, who was part of the Shirley Village project, she is on the board of trustees of Shirley Primary and Te Oraka.
Yeah, but she wasn't there in that capacity, just so we can be clear.
These were the expertise.
Was she representing the school on that, was she? Okay, that's fine. I didn't realise that.
We did some pre-engagement way back.
Oh, yeah, no, I remember that. We were involved.
For the school and.
Right.
Thank you there. And then the second one is also a follow-up from today where there was some of the deputations said that it didn't meet community needs and was not fit for purpose. Comments on that, please.
I'd refer back to, we had a meeting with the board in June last year at the Multicultural Centre where we went through the feasibility study that had been completed. I was just looking back at that. It's in the report 49. It says the basis that we were working to, the community identified a need for a shared public space that was safe and welcoming, an environment that supported play, recreation, community activation and connection. The community were quite clear, or the feasibility was quite clear. It showed that younger age groups wanted outdoor activities on the Shirley Reserve. Older groups were looking for places they could go inside. The whole way through, it's been a balance between what you do. That's why we work with parks to look at what's the size, what's the appropriate size of the building to go on, which gets that balance for the reserve. Fundamentally, it's a building on a park, so the green space is the hero that we want.
Yeah, thank you for that. So I'm still going, got a couple of questions. I have read the report and it may be in there, it was a while ago. I've got concerns about the rotunda. How did it end up there?
So that
It wasn't part of the working group?
No, it was part of the working group. So that was a compromise. So the initial building, or the initial design for the building wasn't a character building, was much bigger. When we talked about it, and this was what I brought to it. I don't know if you know Bexley, the landing down at Dallington Landing.
Yeah.
So great big huge outdoor spaces, picnic tables. I wanted, because of the feasibility study saying that the reserve was kind of the hero and places, young people need things to do and places to go. We wanted a big outdoorsy space for young people. We know that Wi-Fi is important. We thought that would be connected closely to the building. It became apparent through the working group conversations that a big decked space off of the building wasn't going to fly with the working group. The working group weren't keen on that. We did think that it would be great to have a space for young people that they could connect to. Because we went down the character element, that's where it turned into sort of a rotunda space. It would be a safe space for young people, a covered space for young people to hang out in, which would catch the Wi-Fi of the building, which would mean that young people could hang out and use the park and make the most of the park, but they wouldn't need to book the building to do that.
Any concerns about promoting antisocial behaviour in the evening time?
So we would make sure it kept lines of sight. It would be SIPTED designed. It wouldn't be a covered space.
Okay, so given that there's another work stream in developing the green space, is this aspect could be worked up by their project as opposed to so separating it out from this one and
absolutely
incorporate it into, because otherwise there may be some conflict. Okay.
Yeah.
But shall we take it out?
Or vote on it separately, maybe.
Yeah.
And then, sorry, I have got another question. You had a very passionate plea from Don Gould about turning the building around. Any comments about that?
I think
to the south.
I think we wanted
Did it in the old days.
we wanted to make the most. We wanted to make the most of the reserve. And so one of the uses for the building will definitely be for birthday parties and people using the building and using the reserve. We wanted an outlook that looked out to the reserve.
Thank you. I just felt we needed to have a comment on that since he raised it. And then finally, you really have been put on the spot with these amendments today. where's your level of comfort with where this is going, please, as staff?
We,
Your budget there, boys.
I think we were comfortable with, when we had the design, the concept design for option B, we are pretty comfortable that you could do it within budget. I don't know what that budget would look like. So we would need to work that up. I'm not seeing anything there
Gives you alarm
that would not be achievable. I think that the solar was already incorporated. I think the technology we could incorporate, the office space, whether it's large or small. I know that you've seen Lancaster Park. I'm thinking something similar to Lancaster Park, where you've got that building and you've got the office space there, and so there's nothing there which is raising alarm bells.
And if there was, it would be brought back to us in the next stage.
Absolutely, yeah.
To investigate, but it doesn't mean that it's tied up.
Correct.
Look, thank you so much.
Thanks, Vic. Emma.
Okay, so this idea of the walk-in space that is part of the building, that is a non-rentable space, but a space where people can sit and just be there. How do you feel about that?
Practically, I don't know how it would work without somebody activating the building.
Isn't that building it into, again, it's about the future-proofing this building. And I know through the community centre, it is definitely something in the St Albans Community Centre that people say is lacking, is that space to come in, sit down, meet with others in the centre, connect, like that whole, and I actually, with the community that we do have in Shirley, in the isolation and things that Joanna talked about, I actually think that's a really essential addition to this building that is provided there.
You don't think
for the
residents
residents?
Antisocial behaviour?
No, I don't. I'm not too worried about antisocial behaviour because, generally when people are in a building, they look after it, and those sorts of things actually don't happen. I really don't believe in building things for the lowest common denominator either.
So it's almost like
No question, Emma.
It's like having a foyer or something.
It was like, this, and it also, I think it's something that hasn't been discussed and talked about, but actually for this community is really essential.
How do you do it?
Is this,
you might be looking at a foyer type thing.
I'm wondering if the question refers more to how the building is activated rather than how it is designed.
No, because the design actually how it's designed will be the base of how it's activated. So the building will be activated in a way that goes with the design of the building. So if we're leaving out those public spaces within the building, that's what, we're not going to activate that.
And that's got the nice veranda out the front, and like Don said, you can put the blinds there for the winter shelter. I mean, I think we might be just trying to complicate it a bit much at this point.
I think it's essential about a community centre
So you could put a lighting provision at the bottom, saying a communal meeting place be appreciated, but I don't think we could.
I don't
speak
agree
to-
with it, actually.
No.
Well, so like the isolation parts and the social connection, because that's our, these spaces, that's what they're there to do, is to remove those barriers from people feeling part of a community.
It isn't a bigger question about the appropriate community partner or operator. So that's what my question is, because I think it's related to this. So in our agenda, whatever page that is, it's coming up. One, at our meeting on the 13th of June in 24, we asked you to identify an appropriate community partner or operator to progress the development of the community facility. Is there anything going on in that space? Is there any more work in that space? Because that's relevant to what Emma's saying, or is that an issue that is that a ball that's just been put down because it can't find one?
It's not a ball that's been put down. It's not slowing down the construction. However, and Stacey again would be better placed to answer this than me. The governance team, I believe, have done that work. Are looking for a partner. Would be keen to activate with a partner. Nobody's put their hand up yet.
We've been looking for a long time too.
Pardon me.
No, but I think you find once it's.
That's right, build it and they will come.
Yeah.
We did with that resolution last year so that it didn't.
Hold it up. So therefore the question becomes whether what we're agreeing to today allows sufficient flexibility in the usage of the space to support a community operator to provide those spaces.
Yeah.
In the future.
And we think that there is sufficient flexibility here.
And then it becomes self-funding, isn't it?
But yeah, and also if the council's that worried about the space at the present, at the here and now, build it and keep it locked. Yeah.
No,
So it's better than not having it there in the first place.
Yeah. Still got questions? Any more questions?
Yeah, no.
No. Pauline, did you have another question? No.
I've got a question about toilets. Oh, sorry.
And then Victoria, you've asked yours.
I've asked mine, thank you.
John.
Oh, yeah. Great. Whether we build this for $1.6 million or can we have two of them, $3.2 million or 3.999999 what happens to the change ordinarily? What will happen to the budget, the surplus, and what can be done with the surplus?
The budget will remain in the programme until the facilities are complete. The completion of defects and all sorts of things takes quite a bit of time. Usually afterwards the unused budget is applied back to the programme, the wider programme. That would be normal. I have to say though, at this stage, we've got a bigger option on the table. We don't have a cost. We know it's going to be, from what you've asked, it's going to be more. You've got a reserve, you've got other facilities, you've got a building project that won't close out for a considerable time. It's almost too early to be worrying about that question.
There won't be anything left.
Good question.
No, there won't be. Not by the time they put a swimming pool just next.
And some purely found.
Yeah. We'd feel a lot more confident asking that once we've got a cost report and some robust contingency for the bigger. Yeah.
Any questions?
Yeah, I've just got a question about toilets. Oh, I'm sorry, John. No.
I think my other question would be asked by.
Yeah. Because I'm bloody hopeless reading these drawings. How many toilets are in there?
5.
Is that pretty?
Inside the building?
Yes.
3.
3. I thought I could see 5.
So
Two out.
two external.
2.
I haven't had a drink since last November, I'll have you know. Yeah, no, that's fine. So there are 2 outside and 3 inside. Okay, that's cool. Thanks.
So with the outside toilets, would they be locked overnight?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, usually 7 to 7.
So
They'll follow the usual park schedule for toilets.
They'll be locked and unlocked.
Could we turn the Wi-Fi off too as a sort of a deterrent or part of SIP-TED and stuff that anyway,
That's good call.
yeah. Okay.
Right, any more questions?
What's like about it, Mike?
Yeah, just to highlight that, Pauline asked for a slight change to number 5 there. That's increasing the footprint by at least 100 square metres.
That's east.
Yep.
Yep.
That's Anita.
Just one tweak to that, if I may, is footprint/S, because it could be modular, footprint implies it's one slab. I'd like to offer flexibility. Just the forwards flexibility.
You've just increased the costs by quite a lot by doing.
Not necessarily.
No.
Yeah, if you have to put more than one, I'm all
We
right.
really need size, approved for size.
And you'd have to have toilets in the second building.
Rather than a block.
Not going up these 3 levels on.
So can we just look at the wording of everything before we go to debate? Oh, sorry.
May I just get clarification where it says to contain 3 separate rooms, and then in item 6, you say including an office space. Is that is the office space included in?
That's a good question.
No, separate meeting rooms.
No, it's different.
So
Meeting rooms.
Right,
Yes.
yeah, we make that clear.
Meeting slash activity. Slash activity, yeah. Yeah. And there's a kitchen obviously too, that's not counted, right? Yeah, that's in there.
With the office has to be a plus office space, not including, because otherwise it includes in the building.
With an office.
With an office space, including with an office.
What?
No, it's including.
No, including an office space.
Yeah.
So they don't need to investigate.
Yeah, they investigate including an office space,
Yeah.
that's okay.
And including a fitting a low screen, yeah, okay.
That's flexible.
Can we look at the wording just to
You're gonna have.
make sure we're,
Wait, I'll tell you what, I've seen in the next plan, it doesn't have flexible.
What do you mean by look at it?
oh, no, I just see it says request staff include the proposed rotunda as shown in attachment
I
C.
think we'll ask Emma to put that separately.
Okay, yep.
Let's strike it out if the board agrees that.
I like the idea if it became.
We wanted to check it on right into the parks.
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay, I see. Well, is that going to delay it though? Is that going to cause any issues?
So we could say allocate parks to deal with the rotunda.
We're happy to investigate a shelter of some type within our landscape plan if you'd like.
Pergola staff, with something like that, staff.
Request park staff.
Right.
It's four.
Stacey, would we take that rotunda out of everyone that wants it to go to parks? And Megan said that one with the D.
Do you think by taking it out though, we lose visibility of something that a number of us want to keep as part of the
Megan picked
project?
it up and she said they'll do
But
something.
could we say something like request park staff? Could we at least just have it? I'd really like it to be part of.
No,
Come through.
no, rotunda.
Say again, sorry, Emma?
No, that parks.
Yeah.
Between.
Yeah, great. I'm happy with that.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
And their work, so the tail end of that sentence needs to be changed.
Yeah.
It's not part of our detailed design.
No. What's the park staff room? Yeah. Request staff.
Just one question for that. Are we allowed to just have the wording as some type of shelter? I just quite keen to work with the youth
Yes.
to define what that might be.
I'm happy with that. Yeah.
As long as it's in keeping with the building and a visual
Yeah,
amenity.
definitely,
Okay.
definitely.
As part of their work.
Oh, I don't like the word shelter. It sounds like somewhere you'd park your bike. Yeah, I like that. Leave it in there as a. Yeah.
Of their
Request staff
redevelopment proposal.
to the board. With the detailed design and associated project costs.
Is Megan happy with that wording, please? Number 7. Megan, are you happy with that wording at number 7?
There should be an of after part.
Yes.
I think as part of there, is that right? As part of their read.
Yeah, thank you.
Request staff
Thank
to
you.
support with the detailed design. Yeah, request staff collaborate with.
Yeah, yes, it's down the bottom. Yep.
Where's the community? I just wondered, where's the community board oversight on number 9 as well? Could there be something that comes back to the board in there at number 9? It will? Okay.
Yeah, it's the community board has a delegation to approve that plan, and as a part of that, we always talk to the board initially to at least with a plan before we go out for engagement.
Oh, okay, good. I just wanted to make sure you don't bring it back to the board for approval at the point that it's sort of all locked in. No, that's
No,
good.
definitely not.
What's under number 9? Is there anything under that, Mark, or not?
No, that's.
That's it? Okay.
We don't need to talk about floor surfaces in
No.
different buildings, do we?
Yeah, no, I'm
Um,
Right, I think it's open to debate, so if you want to open up.
Got a question.
I'll just slide.
Yeah, I'll go. I just quickly, because I don't want to labour it. I think this has been a really good collaborative meeting. And I think that we probably would have found, and I don't want to speak for the working group, that had option 2 been a part of the discussions, I suspect that they would have gone with option 2 over option 1, but I don't want to put words in their mouths. I really want to commend Joanna Gould on the work that she's done on this particularly, and I also would like to applaud the idea of the library. I've always really loved that as an option, and I think it makes sense as far as activation goes. I did want to bring that up again today, but I see no advantage at this point in doing that we are, I felt we were 80% of the way here now, and it's been a very, very long time for this whole community. What I do like is that we are going to have a space that will have room for a number of people to come in and use and feel that they have a place again in Shirley. I mean, yeah, it's so true. We drive past this space and have been for years, and we're reminded of what was there and what isn't there any longer. And now it's really exciting to see that we are moving forward. I would have hated this not to have gone forward today, and I was worried it wouldn't, but I think that the compromise and the discussion and the collaboration from everyone is to be commended. And thank you for that. I think this is a really exciting time for the community, and can't wait. Thank you.
Kelly, I'll jump in next. First off, I want to thank the working group for their input into this process. So those of you, Murray, who are still here today, yeah, thanks for your input. I'm disappointed with where the board had come to on this. I won't be supporting this. I was supportive of option 1 with an addition that the remaining funding stays within the reserve. I appreciate what staff have done to get this report before this board, as it's this board that has the knowledge of the history around this, and it's us who's been involved with the latest feasibility study and the consultation. Option 2 was not endorsed or not even shared with the working group. The working group asked for an option that could be expanded in the future if required, and was assured of that. Option 2 requires another report to the board for approval. There's a risk that that may not be approved and that the community may lose out altogether. I note 6.1 in the report, which says there is a risk of inertia with the project if the board did not approve option 1. We can't take that risk. We need to get on and get this facility built, and I'm not comfortable with the board having the final say on this. Finally, going with an option that the working group has not endorsed undermines the credibility of the board. They've delegated a task to that group, and they're not respecting the process that the group has gone through, and the fact that they represent the communities on both sides of Shirley Road. Option A I saw as a good compromise. Half of the community in the 2023 consultation didn't want a built facility. I feel that they're being ignored in this. That shouldn't happen. We can't ignore them. And need to remember what they wanted to use the reserve for as well, which was that green space and the open space. So yeah, I will be supporting this. Who's next? Victoria.
Yeah, thank you very much. I recognise what you've said there, Emma, but it's given the willingness for everybody to work together and to compromise. I think it's hard to imagine a new board not progressing further with this, because there's so much energy and commitment to finding something. And the reality is that there is no perfect solution to suit everybody. We're not going to achieve that perfect solution. So this community and the board have been working on this for a very long time, and the primary goal really is to keep it moving forward. And today's meeting, I think, has been very collaborative, and thank you to everyone that's worked together to keep it moving. So recognising that we can't please everybody, I think where we are potentially landing today, where it appears that we're landing, is actually quite a good compromise. And I'm really pleased to hear from the Parks team. Thank you to Megan for sharing that information with us today about the further development of that green space. And once you get your head around understanding this is a building and a park, then it starts to make a lot more sense to me. And it gives me a great deal of confidence that where we will end up is a design and a facility where there is actually something for everyone. So thank you, and I'll be happy to support. Thank you for putting this amendment forward. Thanks.
Thanks, Vic. Who's next? Anyone else want to speak? Simon?
Yeah, I was really impressed with what I saw coming back to us as a proposal. Just picking up on a couple of points that we've heard tonight, the population in the area, as is across Christchurch, is expanding. People need spaces to meet. They also do need green spaces, and that's something as a board we've consistently talked about through this term and previously as well, is the importance of open spaces and green spaces to community, particularly with the way our housing design is heading. I'm supportive of the direction of travel of a relatively small building compared with what came before, acknowledging the loss of what was and the value of what was, not to detract from that at all. If the will of the board was to look at or to support option one, I would see that as a positive outcome for the community. I've been having a bit of a look across the city at what else is successful, and for myself, using a couple of other community spaces quite extensively, a couple that I just checked on size, acknowledging that how I use them is different to how others might, and large or small, any community facility will find users, and the users will find the facility to suit. Aberley Park Hall, I've used it a lot. 91 square metres, less than the 100 we're adding to this building, is a one-room space. Heathcote Community Centre over the other side of town, it's another kind of one-room space. Post-earthquake build, less than 200 square metres. And looking at the community facilities network plan, there are many, many other community spaces in this kind of size range. So I'm really optimistic that where this does land, it will be well used. I'm comfortable adding another 100 square metres plus or minus. I don't see that dominating the reserve or dominating the open space. I still see this fitting together well. So acknowledge the will in the room to get progress on this and to keep the project moving.
Anyone else? Pauline, over to you.
Thank you. I agree. We've got to get this thing moving. If we had, kicked it to next term, we'd be back at this stage still and probably come back again, So I think we're getting a time advantage by sorting it out tonight. But Emma, I can also appreciate you would have liked to have seen it rounded off tonight. No, I know it's not just about you, and I'm not saying that, but because you've been on this from the beginning, like many of us around the table, and I can really appreciate that. So this is still a work in progress. But I too want to recognise the passion in the community, without naming all the girls' names, but these women who came in here today actually saved this project because it did drop out of the LTP. And they fought and fought and fought for a centre back. And I have explained to them that, no one's getting like for like. We won't get that same building back in that same footprint and those same number of rooms, because I think it might have been 7 or 8 or 9 or 10 or something. And it worked really well. So, getting concession is difficult and agreement with a group. It's very challenging. And so compromises are required all round, as we all recognise tonight. But look, the combination of this building and done in character, like it is a character area in Chancellor Street, got some of the oldest little buildings in Christchurch, with the developed reserves, it's going to be incredible for Shirley, incredible, beautiful corner site, with a school nearby, the preschool, on bus routes, everything. It's just going to be a real jewel for them. And look, I know that with all the intensification, as Simon's mentioned, there will be capable people in the community that will step up and want to help out to run that. You're looking at like Coringa 4 hours a day, I think it is, Emma, so 20 hours a week, a couple of people can manage that and get it running. So I want to thank the working group too. I was on the working group for the transitional centre for McFarlane Park. We moved it off the St Albans site, and there's more to do than you think, and thinking about all the possibilities. And I know that the time commitment people put into that, and it needs to be recognised. And also to thank the staff, because this has been a bit of a movable feast, and especially being here tonight to talk us through everything. So at the end of the day, this board does have the delegation, working group or not. We take the advice, and we've heard it all, and we've heard very different opinions from the working group, and I never actually expected that a working group had to have a majority or anything. It's a bit like a submission process, and you take out of it what you think is actually relevant and what holds water. So this board has the delegation, and I think we're using it tonight. So on that note, with thanks to everybody, and I agree with Ellie, it's been a lovely collaborative process tonight around the table. So thank you.
Thanks, Pauline. Right, so we'll put that motion. All those in favour?
Aye.
Against?
Aye.
Yay.
Right, that is carried. Thank you very much, staff.
Thanks, guys.
Right, we're now going to double back to our second briefing. So it's the surface flooding reduction program.
See you.
Oh gosh, Long, Tom, and Sylvia. Okay. Sorry. Okay. Thanks for your patience as well, waiting through that one.
Kia ora koutou. So my name is Kate Dawkins. I'm here with my colleague Tom Parsons, and we'll give you a briefing on work we've been working on with council for this year, just to bring you up to speed with all the things that have been happening on the surface flooding reduction program. Tom, can I see that? Thank you. So what is the surface flooding reduction program? It was created by this resolution from council, which was to establish a fund of $20 million per year, and that fund kicks in the $20 million next financial year. And it was specifically for addressing surface flooding at regular problem sites, and the request was to develop a priority matrix of where those sites would be and how we would address those in the financial year 25 and 26. So that's what we've been busy working on in the last few workshops with council. We'll run you through a bit of a quick recap of what's occurred to date. So the first item that we had to tackle was, what is a surface flooding issue? When it rains, we naturally get water on the ground. Our roads are designed to have water within them, so water in itself, not necessarily an issue. So we had to define, when does that become an issue of importance? We then went through a process with councillors of ranking those issues in terms of priority. After that survey and workshop in March, we then undertook a process of mapping for each issue to, and then we would be able to say, here's where we expect an issue, and draw some circles around those and say, here's a pocket that would be an area of interest. We were able to then rank those areas based on the priorities the council had given us. And then we've been through looking at each of those areas and said, in these areas, is there actually a project that we could look to implement that would help to reduce that surface flow? So through that first part of the process, these are the issues that council told us were of importance to consider through this program, and this is the order. So the first one being flooding of a residential floor level. This has always been really important for council. It's one of our key KPIs, and there's been a lot of work on this to date through programs such as the Land Drainage Recovery Program, flooding intervention. So that's still there as the #1 priority. What this program has done is also added some additional issues to consider, such as where there might be flooding that affects infrastructure, commercial buildings, as well as residential, and, for example, flooding on a road, which might cause an issue for people being able to access their buildings.
Can I ask a quick question, just related to the commercial building? I know a couple of years ago, we raised the question around level of service and discovered there was no LOS related to flooding in commercial buildings. Has that now been rectified through this?
The level of service hasn't been changed. That would be a separate process to change the defined level of service. But through this program, which allocated funding, it's enabled us to put forward projects which would look at addressing that issue. One level of service.
Does it align with the LOS?
That's not something that we can address through this process, but it is, we are being able to put forward things that would help reduce that, because it's a priority defined under this particular program.
Okay, no, I do understand that, but it's a disconnect, I think, isn't it, with, yeah. All right, thank you.
I'll just add, the level of service is defined through the long-term plan. So this is sort of outside of that process right now, of course.
But it would make sense in the next long-term plan that the LOS should be adjusted to reflect what you're doing here.
Well, we do have the existing levels of service associated with above floor flooding risk.
But nothing for commercial businesses, a commercial.
Correct.
Yeah.
But I'm getting to that this program does support that level of service that exists. It just has some additional criteria that's been established through council. So staff will, work within the mandate that's been given to council for application of this funding. If there was a new levels of service inserted into the long-term plan, that would drive a whole other process in terms of staff looking for projects to address that level and manage that level of service with time. So I'm not saying it's not changing the level of service entirely within council remit, and that can do so. My only point being is that we would see potentially a different infrastructure program in response to that.
Thank you. I don't understand.
So this was a program set up in the last LTP to address these issues that sat outside the levels of service, basically, because we felt there was a need.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is the levels
To
of
put them
service
in the
need
level of
to.
service might be really complex, because this is
Really?
actually a when you need through this is prioritisation program. Yeah. So you couldn't have it carte blanche everywhere, you see.
I suppose all that I was trying to highlight is that we have some ring fence funding right now for doing this work and addressing these issues. If we were to add it into levels of service, we'd have to
Would expand it across a much greater area.
yes, and potentially create a whole lot more projects, and would have to respond to that within the capital program in a different way.
Okay, got it, thanks.
And then the rates would go up.
Thank you.
Yeah, so you'll see a lot of lists tonight. This is list number 1 in terms of the issues. You'll see a few maps as well. So what we did is we said each of those issue numbers, where might they occur, and this is all of the dots that were defined from that mapping process. We also hence the need to prioritise and rank. Can't necessarily stop water being everywhere.
Where are we all moving to?
Well, not down there.
Hornby.
Well, the context is, I mean, what this really tells us is Christchurch is a flat, low-lying city. Drainage is very challenging, and it has been challenging for decades for the city, and will continue to be challenging.
Since the beginning, really.
I will note that this program covers Banks Peninsula as well as district-wide, but we'll focus on areas of interest. So we made some dots and then clustered those together to see where might be a clustered area of issues or a flood pocket. And like I said, drew some circles around those. We came up with a very long list of 158 of those.
Wow.
Each of those areas will have a different combination of types of issues and severity. So then we took those areas and we took the list of priorities that council gave us, and we used that to then rank the areas in terms of the prevalence of those issues. So that created a long list. The top 30 was presented back to council, but that list goes all the way down to 158. We've put up here for your information, these are all the pockets that were identified within the community board area.
Wow. Sorry, if we can just have a little bit more time on that list. Yeah. Put up for a minute. It's on the hub.
We've got recommendation.
Yeah. It's nearly 7 o'clock.
Sorry.
Didn't go on the very long.
On the leverage knives. So once we had our areas, we need to systematically work our way through them. We can't tackle all 158 in one go. So what we then went back to council with is we said, here's a ranked list of areas. What we'll do next is work our way down and start looking for potential options and potential projects that we might be able to do to achieve a reduction in the surface flooding. In order to do that, we came up with some delivery program criteria, which we'll talk about on the next slide. And we've used those to then screen for projects that could be implemented to look at reducing flooding in these areas. So these are the delivery program criteria, and they are aligned with other programs that council has delivered for consistency. We've got some initial ones that we use to look at areas, particularly responsibility. Some of these areas, for example, there's other parties involved, such as NZTA or ECAN, which means we need to work with a wider group before we could recommend a project to council. There's also an important alignment consideration. So council has other programs that might mean we need to look at an area ahead of where it ranks on the list, because we want to take opportunities to coordinate. It also might mean that we would look at something a bit later than the ranking it appears on the list, because we're waiting for something else to happen. So we use those as a bit of an initial screening. And then work our way through the list, looking at some areas in more detail for potential costs, potential effectiveness, and potential feasibility of some high-level options. So to start with, we identified a first tranche or batch of areas to investigate a bit further, and this is for the purposes of coming up with a potential project. So we take our areas and say, what could we potentially do in this area to address the flooding? And this was the first batch of areas that we started to look at. And from that, we then reported last week to council on areas where we felt that we'd done sufficient work to come up with a feasible project that could be progressed.
So is that Flockton? Oh, you're just going to go up.
And so yes, one of them is the Flockton Street area that ranked fairly highly. So these are 4 indicative projects that were put forward and approved as the first cabs off the rank to be looked at through this capital program. The first one there is in the Flockton Street area, and you may know that there's some arrangement to pump water in storm events at the moment. This project would be looking at formalising that with a new pump station. We've also got in this area.
Sorry, can you just, I didn't know that. So what we've got at the moment is temporary? No? What?
Well, temporary pumps are deployed on Warrington Street. So it's not what we'd classify as a permanent connected pump station. It does require some manual intervention to operate.
The pump station that was set up outside Mataho Library though?
Patrick Street.
Around, yeah.
So that, yes, so that we call that the Tasman Drain or the Westminster Street pump station. So that was built as part of the Merrill Flood Task Force. So yes, that is operable and that does operate. So there's an additional site on Warrington Street where there's a large pipe that drains a stormwater network up through Carrick and Harrison Street and the like.
Right.
And that discharges into Dudley Creek behind the shops there.
And this,
behind the
and this exacerbates the issue that we're seeing in Edgware at the moment. Is that right?
No.
So at the moment, there are pumps that draw water out of that pipe and put the water into the creek.
Yep.
We're just looking to formalise that.
What do you think?
Different creeks.
Well, put in a permanent pump station rather than pumps which we can deploy, remove.
Oh, so these are mobile drive-in pump?
Yeah.
Okay, right, didn't know that. Okay, thanks.
Did you want to mention Emmett and Mulcahy's? That's on my list there.
So also in this board area, there was some previous investigations into what could be done around the Emmett Street area, around the Shirley Stream, which weren't progressed with previously. We revisited that through this program and we're recommending that. We have recommended that as an initial project as well.
And is that machinery pump stations or is that just pipes and that's just pipes and improving the flow? Okay.
So, and I don't see any Upper Cranford Street issues where that new housing development is going up there. Grasmere Street, is that on that list anywhere?
So there's a huge amount of stormwater infrastructure going in that area, around the Cranford area already. Yeah, okay. So it's identified as an additional issue we need to address.
Okay.
So we're underway now with 4 projects which are about to be moved into the next phase of design. There's still a lot of work to do in terms of working through the rest of this program.
And our board page says 2 further tranches of work have been identified and will be investigated.
Yes.
Which are they? What are they?
My next slide. So our next steps is we will be progressing those 4 projects into design. We're still going to be looking at the rest of the areas on the list as we work our way through. So there are some areas that were investigated as part of that first tranche. They haven't yet been progressed to a design project because we think we want to do a bit more work, just understanding different options, understanding risks and costs and preparing for those. So we will do a bit more work and then come back with a recommendation for projects for those areas. So that's to continue assessing tranche 1 areas. We'll then move into looking at investigations and potential options for the next 2 areas, which I'll go through. And as we look through those areas and we think we've got a project that would help, we'll then take the project to council to sign on.
So when can we expect to hear from you then?
So we've suggested through the annual plan process, so the money is already allocated, the $180 million program is there. We'll be recommending how to spend that money.
Right.
So these are our tranches. So tranche 1 on the left is the areas that I highlighted before. The 4 in bold have moved into design. The remainder on the list, we would still like to do some more work, understanding our options and costs, risks and such. We will then start looking at the next tranche on the list and doing that high level, looking at feasibility, what types of things could we do, how much indicatively could it cost, so that we've got some information to present back to council on those. And then once we're done with those areas, we'll move on to tranche 3. There may well be more tranches. It just depends how much of the budget we have spent by that point and how far we get through the list of 158.
Or, of course, if council through the long-term plan decided to allocate more funding to the program, then we could continue.
Can
Take a lotto ticket.
explain the tranche thing? I'm just not following that. So we've got our four places mentioned there, and I see some of them up there.
You almost called that, sorry, the low-hanging fruit the other day, the first, the easier to get on with, because the other ones need a bit more work.
Yeah, but I'm just trying to understand the tranche thing. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 on the page, which includes Flockton, Bells Creek, Green Park, Emmett, and Orcades. Then it says 2 further tranches of work have been identified.
Yes, that's number 2 and number 3. So we just call tranches a group of areas that we will start to engage consultants to have a look at.
So does that mean that Shirley and Edgware are included in that list I'm just saying that on our page, it's got 4 things listed, but Shirley and Edgware are included in that, but they're just not shown on that list.
So they're included in the first tranche of investigation. We would like to investigate them further before they become an addition to the 4 projects approved.
Because the solutions are not easy.
First off the ring. Yeah, but tranche 1 includes Shirley and Edgware.
Tranches, yeah, it was just a term that we used to order our thinking in terms of which areas are we going to look at. We're not going to look at all 158 in one go. That would be too much.
No.
So we're going to take a batch of them or a
trying to align that with what I was
seeing
on this website, yeah.
And there's a little bit more information in the reports that have gone up as well that expand on that. But essentially the tranches are our batches of investigation groups. And then from that, projects would be put up.
We might need a break. 3 hours.
Emma, you got a question?
Yes, so my question is in regards to the damage from the earthquake and the lowering of ground levels and so forth, and in particular commercial buildings. So what responsibility does the council have to ensure these buildings are not flooded if they haven't been fixed post-earthquake? So there are people, houses and businesses and things like that who have taken the insurance money but haven't actually redone their buildings. What's our responsibility with those types of buildings to ensure their safety from flooding?
Council doesn't have a responsibility to ensure safety from flooding at all, regardless of earthquake damage. Council has some levels of service that it sets in negotiation with the community through the long-term planning process, and in doing so, derives a capital program in response to that. So we create projects and we fund them and we do the work because we believe it's a good thing to do as a community. Council doesn't have a responsibility to do it. It chooses to do it. We have to manage stormwater and we have to manage natural hazards, but the way in which those natural hazards are managed is subject to council's discretion. And council does manage natural hazards in many different ways. Some through the district plan, through floor level setting, some through pipe networks, set through infrastructure design standards and like for new development, and also in retrofit, which so building, new facilities in old areas. And so this is just another example of where council is choosing to do something that it sees a benefit for the community, where it does not necessarily have to do so per se.
Okay. Cool. Okay, I think that's you all. Thanks for coming and providing us with the update. Obviously, councillors all over it, but it's good for the board to keep in the loop there, so we appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 9, urban forest tree planting plan for Papanui Domain. Toby has been waiting patiently for a long time online.
It was online.
Toby, did you hear the deputation we had about this?
Yes, I did. Sorry, I'm not in. I've been unwell, so it's best to stay home. Yes, I did hear the deputations, so thanks for them for coming in. I'm not sure if any of them have stuck around, but if they have,
No, they've long gone.
Yeah, fair enough. I can give you, I mean, I'm going to take the report as read, if that's okay. Basically, this plan came up as part of the urban forest plan. As I started looking into it, the issues with the trees came up. It's worth noting that we do get sports teams raise issues around trees being close to sports fields. Most of the time, it's not really an issue, but in this case, this particular species, Macrocarpa, they do dry out the ground a lot and they stop rainfall. So a feature of them is to create that really dry, compact area under it, under them. We looked at different options for retaining the trees. There really aren't any viable options for retaining the trees and having those sports fields there. So because I was already looking at the urban forest plan, we decided to incorporate the removals and look at the whole of the landscape area, which is why there's the removals as part of this plan.
Victoria, you've got a question?
Toby, thank you for waiting. I saw you come online 3 hours ago. Is there anything you heard in the deputations today that you didn't hear through your engagement and consultation process?
Well, actually, surprisingly, they didn't give feedback during the consultation process, any written feedback. So we were basing it largely off historic feedback that we've been given on the trees. We sent it to them originally before we went out for consultation and they said they were happy with it, but we didn't get any additional feedback through the consultation stage. So I'm glad that they did come in. We knew that this is what they wanted, but it was nice to actually hear that feedback. Nothing out of the ordinary or what I wouldn't have expected from them.
Okay, so there's nothing inconsistent with what we heard from them today with what your proposal is?
No, not
Okay,
at all.
thanks.
Well, thanks, Toby. I'm happy to move this, but I did want to add something else, and that's that we request park staff to come back to the board with information on when this domain is due for remediation.
Oh, I can answer that now.
Part of the sports network plan.
Cool.
So,
Yeah.
as part of when I looked into this, I also got told that they were redoing the sports field. So they were hoping to get in there around late October at the end of once the rugby and league season finished.
Oh, as soon as that. Wow, cool.
So
great.
tying in the removals with that.
It's really good.
Perfect. Okay, we don't need any.
And how long is it going to take? What's the timeline?
It's supposed to be up and running and for the next season. So that's why they want to get in there as soon as possible. So as soon as they finish their last game, I think they're planning on getting in there and renewing the sports field so that they're ready for the next season.
Good.
Amy, got a question?
Is there any signage or something going up in the area to inform the community that these trees are coming down?
We can put signage up, but the consultation highlighted that it was replanting with the removals as well.
Yeah, I'm talking about the users, you know, the people who go and walk their dog around there every day and things like that.
Sorry?
There's signs that saying that trees are coming down.
There are signs promoting the consultation, which included a proposal for them to come in.
Okay.
But Toby just said they can put them back.
Yeah, I just think after Shirley, that it's, you know, we don't want anyone to be in shock.
Yeah.
That's right.
It's going to be a big shock, those trees coming down. So we don't want anyone to, we don't want the same debacle as we've had in Shirley.
Yeah, it might even be helpful if council can maybe put something up on those local community pages online on.
No, that's right. Yeah, good idea.
Giving it
I think it's
Newsline.
front of that.
No, I'm talking about something actually in the park.
Yeah, as well as them.
Yeah, as well as,
We did also contact the school and talk directly with the school as well.
The newsletter. Yep.
Oh, that's a good idea.
So I've moved it. Do we have a seconder? Victoria had her hand up first. Any debate? No, we'll put that motion. All those in favour? Aye. That's carried. Thanks very much, Toby. Appreciate your work on that.
Can I move not 10 and 11 together?
Yep.
I mean, both of those.
Yes.
Well,
So you're talking Windermere Road and Dale Street.
yeah.
Either.
Simon, you want to?
Do you want to say anything?
Any questions?
I just had a quick one, just really quick, because I know it's late.
Well, that's good because it's waited. So.
Yeah, I know, that's fine. You know how I feel about this. They should be zooming in at this time. Hi, thank you for waiting. Yeah, question. I see there's reference, and I can't remember which one it was actually. It
Windermere.
might have, it was Windermere Road.
Yeah.
There was some mention of a resident parking permit idea that someone mentioned and what have you. And I know that the board has raised this before. I think it was Bishop Street. We had that come to us. And I mean, is that something that you have thought would help a situation like this with turnover of vehicles? I know this is a visibility issue, but would that help?
Not from the safety point, because
It's a visibility.
Yeah. Because they can still park close to there.
All right, you've answered your question. Off you go. Right.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, one more. Oh, sorry. Make it worth your while.
Yeah.
Why are these no stopping restrictions not put in as a matter of course when something like a rest time goes in and we know that there's going to be an exit with a lot of vehicles coming out?
It's a very good question. I don't know the answer, but I'll be going back to Andy Milne's team.
Right.
Excellent.
Thank you, Andy. No, it should have been part of the resource consent.
Okay, so Victoria moved it. Did you have a question, John?
I did have a question.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Since you've waited, got to have at least 3 questions. So this is just a curiosity. Are these both the same retirement village company?
No, it's the one's Bellevue Care Centre and the other one is a different one.
Different
It's like it's golden age retirement village.
Okay. No.
All right, so it's been moved and seconded. We'll put that motion. All those in favour? Yes.
Thank you.
Is carried. Thank you very much for your patience.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for getting on that really quickly.
Right, we are on the home straight. We've got item 12, someone with your neighbours.
I'll second.
Pauline's moved, Ellie seconded. Any questions?
No, it's a great turnout.
Good one. Yeah. No. Yep, welcome staff. What?
Yeah, off you go, Trev.
We'll put that motion. All those in favour?
Aye.
Aye.
That is carried. Thank you.
Have a biscuit while you're here.
Item 13, the DRF from the Shirley Rugby League Club. I'm happy to move.
I'll have a second.
Ali seconded. Any questions? No?
Yeah.
Oh, John.
I do. Yeah, yes, since you've waited.
No, green, these ones.
Who's doing the feasibility study?
RSL, Recreations. Oh, hang on.
Someone is elected.
Yes. I've got the report.
And it's been scoped. That's fine,
It's been scoped.
Yeah, correct.
Right, so it's moved and seconded. I just want to say I'm really pleased to see this one come to us. I'm looking forward to seeing what they have to say. So we'll put that motion. All those in favour?
Aye.
Against, that is carried. Yes, Simon, I'll get you to take over for item 14.
Okay, right, so discretionary response fund application from Casebrook Intermediate School for funding for the Tōtaranui Kahuiako Cultural Festival. Who's speaking on this one? Is this you, Trevor? I'm just going to start with a question, which is, do we have a date for the festival?
Should be late October. That's why I got them really hard to get into before the change of. Yeah.
Cool. Okay.
And
Me, Brian.
do they still run the leadership program? It was Casebrook, wasn't good habits.
Facebook used to come to the fund, the junior fund quite a bit. They haven't since the deputy headmaster moved to another school.
Josie,
That's exactly right.
Do you?
But I can talk to them.
That'd be great.
I go back to
Move it.
Good on you.
All right, I'm happy to second it.
Right, now the questions, got a mover and a seconder.
Yeah.
So that's John and Ellie. I'll put that motion. All those in favour?
Aye.
Any opposed? That's carried. Back to you, Chair.
All right.
Thanks, Simon. I was just frantically looking on my school calendar to see if I give you a time. Item 15 is our area report. And again, another very thorough report. Thank you very much. That.
I'll move.
Any questions?
I'll second.
No. Okay, moved and seconded.
Thank you very much.
This is Pauline and.
Sure, we can come up with a question.
Right, so no comment, debate. No, okay, we'll put that motion. All those in favour?
Aye.
Is carried.
Good luck, everyone, in your job interviews.
Thank you. The long one.
The mother of all performance reviews.
Cool. We're going to do item 17 before we come back to 16. So elected members information exchange.
I had one. Oh, yes, very quickly. Yeah, just wanted to give you an update on Western Road. It's actually in Papanui, but there was who was I contacted by? Oh, doesn't matter who I was contacted by. Anyway, went up to Western Road, gentleman fell over, was in hospital as a result of the works on the road there. He slipped. I'm really concerned about the environmental stuff that's still in the gutters there, the silt. It's like the stuff after the earthquakes. Anyway, it was an absolute dog's breakfast with a mattress, even on work site. So I don't know whether people were sleeping over or what. Water had been off and on over a number of days. Some days they couldn't have a shower in the morning and so forth. Anyway, it's pretty much sorted. What happened was the water pipe was blowing along the length of the pipe. So they fixed one at a blow, and then they've now had staff on ground and on the ground, and it is being repaired. They're doing a full replacement. It's around 260 Western Road, something like that. So just a really positive outcome, and it was good to be able to get it moving along. Yeah, that's about the only thing I think. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks. I just want to comment on the Grassmere Street and Grassmere Estates that had some media attention following a reputation from a member of the public yesterday. There's been further works on that today, and the latest is that the staff are working on improving the TMP, and there's a barrier arm being installed on the cycleway, as I understand it. Assuming that I haven't seen anything yet, but I'm assuming that's something that looks like the one that's outside the museum. I'm not sure about that. And staff still working at as fast as they can on progressing the alternative access on Cranbourne Street. It will come. There's two options as to work with it's just a matter of time. But it's not there's anything else you can just on that.
Can I just ask about that?
On that one, where I know you've been.
Can I just ask about that too? Because I want to raise it here too. The traffic management plans. We've had issues with this before. Courtney Street's been a really dangerous one, to the point that when I raised it, they went down there immediately and applied for a change in the traffic management plan. So I just want to flag it that we need to look at the system. A lot of them are being done as desktop traffic management plans, box ticking, not on site, and there are often issues with them not understanding the way the traffic works in the area.
Through the chair, can I just comment that this issue has been escalated up to the CE's office? I did that myself, but I'm aware that there are other elected members at the council table that are asking questions, Yanni in particular. But the issue appears to be around understanding what the matrix looks like and the prioritisation, and when it is called for a closer look at it. Because we had the same issue with the Cranford Main North Road intersection recently when the TMP came out, and following some feedback from the public, staff looked at it again and said, we're confident that we can come up with a less intrusive TMP. So the question was, why didn't we do that in the first place? And that was the issue that triggered it, me escalating this up to the CE's office. So yes, they are looking at it, and it has been raised.
Right, thanks.
Simon.
Just a real quick one. We're heading to the end of welcoming week. I attended Friday night's Otatahi welcoming dinner at the Multicultural Centre last Friday, which was hosted by Sher Kai. And it was an event focused on welcoming new arrivals to the city, essentially. It was an amazing dinner, Eritrean menu and Eritrean music and entertainment. Really good night. And we're probably all on the mailing list for the Multicultural Centre. So I just want to acknowledge that night and the whole welcoming week and the intent behind it.
Fantastic.
Right.
This is telling.
Anyone else? Okay, story. Okay, item 16. I know what it is. All of you know me well enough to know that I would have preferred just to quietly exit out the door. I'm flying up to the Freda without anything special, but I have been convinced to just say a few words. So since I started out on what was then the Shirley Papanui Community Board 12 years ago, it's been a bit of a roller coaster ride. I first stood because I didn't know what a community board was. So I had absolutely no idea what I was getting myself into. And obviously if I've stuck around this long, I have, for the most part, enjoyed my time representing our communities. I did learn very early on that you can never ever please everyone. But I hope that every decision that I've made around this table has helped make this part of the city a better place for people to live and work and enjoy. So thanks to all those elected members that I've served with over my time. There's been some robust debates and disagreements, but I think they've been outweighed by the times that we work together to achieve good results. Simon, thanks. I've enjoyed leading the board with you for the last 6 years. It's been very supportive of me and my role as chair. So thanks very much for that. And thanks to staff. Only a few of you left now, but for all your guidance and work you've done for our board area, especially our local team. Our community are lucky to have such knowledgeable and supportive group of people working for them. I really appreciate all you do for elected members and the wider community, and I've enjoyed working with you all. So keep up the amazing job you're doing. So I'll leave it there. It's been an amazing journey, which has helped me grow as a person, and I thank the community for entrusting me and allowing me to be the voice for the last 4 terms. Thanks.
Emma, I just want to acknowledge you're particularly sitting in the role of chair for the last 2 terms that I've been on the board. It has been a pleasure to take the deputy role and to work alongside you with that. I've learned a lot from that. And I just want to acknowledge the amount of time that you have put into our community and our community board area, and the number of events and activities that you've been present at, that you've contributed to. It's a punishing schedule is not quite the right word, but you've put a lot of time into that side of the role, as well as into the leadership of the meetings and the admin and the things in the background. There's been all that engagement with the community as well, and I know that's been really valued.
I'd just like to say a few words to Emma, as Deputy Mayor, if it's fitting. But you've been a good chair, thank you. And you've run really good impartial meetings, firm meetings, efficient, although I'm not sure about could have been a bit quicker. And I remember when you first came on, had you just had the baby?
No.
You
I found out a couple of months after I was elected that
and then it didn't stop you because you just brought her in. And put the little basket down and everything, and it was really good. And I think that's really a great example for women, that anyone can do that, and you did it really well. You did it, I think, you didn't stop. And this role with these 3 wards now is even more challenging, and you've attended so much in all of the wards. You haven't just favoured Papanui, and you've been right through to Central and Innes, and you've made your presence felt. And you've built memories, and I know that there'll be good ones and bad ones, but most of them will be good. And all the community groups and all the things you've done, the things you've opened, the sod turnings, and getting to know what all the programs are. And also putting up with us board members with all our, it's like herding cats, isn't it? So you've managed it very well, and I think that this is a really good board. And but we've had our testy moments, as we all do, and that's why we do the karakia at the end, so we walk out and we leave it all behind. But so I want to thank you as well for being a good firm chair and how long you've been here. And you've run a really nice meeting, and I think a good meeting brings the best outcomes. So you've kept it, firm, but also relaxed. And I like that style personally. I think that style's good. So thank you, and all the best. This is beautiful. There we go. They're not from me, they're from the board.
It's a lovely colour.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Great idea.
That's better.
A couple of angles there.
Thank you.
Emma, I've just got a little something for you so that
and good memories. Yeah, thank you very much. Right, we'll finish with our karakia. Unuhia, unuhia, ki te ura tapanui, ia wātia, kia maa, tūnahu, te whina, te wairua, i te ata tangata, ko iaia ake rongo, whakaira ake hirunga, ia rina, tina, hui e tai.